institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manila. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
When the power goes out on Guam, the little things can become surprisingly big. Small comforts are often the things we miss most during a power outage. That is why Kohler built the fastest responding generator sets in the industry. Whether you are at home or away, a residential Kohler generator will enable you and your family to live life without interruption. Kohler gas, LPG, and diesel power systems are available from Morrico Equipment LLC on Epal Road. Call 649-1946. That's 649-1946.
Join the most excellent of egg hunts. Chuck E. Cheese's Guam is holding their annual indoor egg hunts on Tuesday, March 27th from 3 to 7 p.m. Pre-register for the right age group in one of the 4 egg hunts per hour. Bring your baskets to hunt those eggs. Stay and play for the best experience. Call 647-4544 to register or stop in the restaurant. And sign up. Excellent egg hunts at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam legislature yesterday narrowly approving a complex revenue measure that will impose a temporary 1 percentage point increase in the business privilege tax immediately upon submission by the governor of a revised fiscal realignment plan that has a minimum of $30 million in budget reductions. After the BPT increase expires on September 30th, a 2% sales tax will kick in. The tax bill also grants the governor broad powers to consolidate or eliminate some GovGuam agencies. The bill was passed yesterday afternoon following months of acrimonious debate and threats of payless paydays and termination of government services, which have already begun. The governor's communications director, Oya Nirarikral, said that the governor would sign the bill as soon as he gets it. No word yet on whether the 90-day furlough notices and public park closures would be rescinded, nor is it clear that the measure will allow the public safety facilities that were closed to reopen. In a release, the governor said, "We now have a roadmap that helps us bridge the $67 million shortfall." However, he warned that more needs to be done. The vote yesterday was 8-7, with 5 of 6 Republican senators voting for the tax increase. Republican Senators Jim S. Baldon, Fernando Estevez, Luis Muñoz, Will Castro, and Tommy Morrison were joined by Democrat Speaker Benjamin Cruz and Democrat Senators Tom Ada and Josanne Augustine in voting for the tax increase. Voting no were Democrat Senators Michael San Nicolas, Therese Terlahi, Frank Uggan Jr., Dennis Rodriguez Jr., Talina Nelson, Regine Bisco-Lee, and Republican Senator Mary Torres. We'll have more news after this.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
It's 11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. 4 people were taken into police custody yesterday afternoon during a drug raid in the Harmon Industrial Park. Members of the Mandanya Drug Task Force were joined by the SWAT team and the K-9 unit. They raided a second-floor unit at the Sabana condos. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau confirmed police had taken 2 women and 1 man into custody during the raid. Another man was also arrested about an hour before the raid took place. He was seen in handcuffs, bleeding from his head. SWAT officers arrested him after he reportedly jumped from the balcony of the condos. Police have not released the names of the suspects or the charges against them or what items were found during the raid. A suspicious package prompted a multi-agency response at the South Pacific Petroleum Corporation office in Tamuning yesterday. The offices of Homeland Security and Civil Defense announced that a suspicious package was reported at the office building just before noon. The second floor of the building was evacuated. It took 5 hours before the all-clear was given. There has been no official report about the contents or origins of that suspicious package, other than from the fire department, which said that a suspicious envelope was delivered to the office building yesterday morning. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with the weather.
Well, thanks very much, Kevin. There's a fire weather watch in effect through Saturday night for Guam, particularly the southern and central mountains. Dry weather persists across the area, and only isolated showers are expected over the next several days. Red flag conditions will be possible as trade winds increase and become gusty at times during the daytime hours. Any fires that develop may be difficult to control. There's also a high risk of rip currents along east-facing reefs. Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. Winds east up to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 76 degrees. Sun's coming up at 6:28 this morning. Sunset tonight, 6:31. Find a spot on the beach to enjoy it. Weather brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
This broadcast is brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like yours for over 40 years. King's Restaurants, always open, always local.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Groovy. Security title when you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Muña on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
The Ray Gibson Show on The Point. My name is Ray. That's why they named the show after me, but it should really be the Ray and Kevin and Mike morning thing here because I'm not alone. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post with the news. Good morning.
Good morning, Ray.
And Mike Knight gets the phone when you call it. 888-8255. Again, that is 888-8255. How doing there?
I am the doorman.
Yes. The programming note, sort of. Normally I'd give you a programming note about things that are happening on this radio station, but there's a couple of other stations under the roof, and Mike, who's got this great voice.
Yeah. That's to balance off my not so great face.
So Mike's got this guy, and he loves music. Got in radio to play records and get concert T-shirts, and so we've got an opening on Saturday mornings on Boss 104. So tomorrow morning. You're going to go on and present to the listeners the Boss 104 format with that voice.
Yeah, gonna give it a try. You know, my job is
Will
just
there be jokes?
Probably not. No, not the first day. Yeah, my job tomorrow will be just to not suck.
Yeah, just be as tight as the automation.
There you go.
That's the only thing that you really got to worry about. Other than that, we finally hit it. I don't know. I thought it would be further down the road, but we finally got to that point where there's absolutely nothing to talk about on the radio. There's nothing really of any kind of interest. Maybe we ought to get some of those songs into Boston, play them over here. Maybe we ought to do some of that because there's nothing, absolutely nothing out there to talk about.
The drama ain't over.
Get the weather. You want to talk about the weather? Get that rough patch of water up in the eastern side here that they're high risk of rip currents. Think I could do 4 hours on that?
We can do it. We can. Trust me.
The fire weather watch in effect through Saturday evening for Guam. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I was going to riff for 4 hours on a rip current and the fire danger rating. Actually, that's clearly the furthest thing from the truth. The top story is I owe Kevin $1. Actually, that's not true. I owe you when it's enacted, when the BPT is actually increased by that 25%. That's when I owe you the $1.
The governor said he'd sign it. Apparently, it's been delivered. We'll find out today.
He'll sign it. Of course, he's going to sign it. That was what he wanted. He got his tax increase. Woo! So yeah, he's gonna sign off on the paperwork and be able to put together, what is that, another $29 million based on that 0.5% of the 25% of the increase.
We'll see.
I think that was the number. I think that was the number that's in my head. He's naturally got to come across with another fiscal realignment plan that would provide $30 million
minimum
to the legislature. Yeah. Well, like I said, as you shut down the swimming pool in Dededo, that's $15 million, and we shut down the one in Naganya and the Paseo Stadium. I mean, that's got to be another $15 million right there.
You know, I got to thinking last night.
Oh, that's bad. That's alert the authorities.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The smoke was terrible. But, all of this makes the senators, who, by the way, will be running for the offices, look kind of bad, whereas, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, and he's under the Calvo umbrella right now, and it's making his case look a little better, don't you think? I mean, in the minds of most voters?
I'm not sure about that. If you take a look at the Daily Post, in fact, they whoever and I don't know. It's a secret to me who the writers are at the Daily Post for the editorial contributions. I don't know if it's the same person or if you guys rotate them around, but they point out that at the end of the editorial, Governor Eddie Calvo at least faced the public over and over, despite the difficult and unpopular decisions to be made. However, rarely did the public see Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio become publicly involved in handling the issues, even when public safety agencies' jobs and services were on the line. So if they're drawing that conclusion, it's possible that there are other people drawing the very same conclusion. I had asked, Ray and I saw each other over the weekend, and he said, you were trying to get a hold of me. I said, yeah. He says, what for? I said, what's your position on all of this stuff? And he says, I'm with the governor. I'm with the governor.
Yeah.
The governor says that we got to do this tax increase, and otherwise there's going to be all his hell to pay. And he's the lieutenant governor of Eddie Calvo, so that was his position. Now, whether he needed to be out in front of it every single day, well, I think we're going to leave that up to the voters. The voters will also, as you point out, have a couple of things going through their head as we try to. Now that the legislature has been bifurcated this way, there are the people that voted to support it, and there are the people that voted against it. I'm referring to the people that voted against it as the Magnificent Seven after that cowboy movie, right? So I'm saying they're the magnificent. So others within literally within a few minutes of the vote, there was already a picture of the senators floating around the internet referring to them as the compassionate seven. They'd taken all of the pictures that they have up on the wall at the legislature and put them in a nice little collage that said compassionate seven. And those compassionate or magnificent seven, if you will, Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi, Frank Uggan, who, pointing out here, is running for governor, Regine Lee, Talina Nelson, Dennis Rodriguez, who, let me point out, is running for governor, Mike Sinicolas, who is running for Congress, and the scion of the Republican Party, I call her the sign of the Republican Party because she is the daughter of the first elected governor of Guam, Carlos Camacho, and the sister to a twice re-elected governor of Guam, Felix Camacho.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's running for anything more than just to be in the Senate for another year. But those are the people that turned down the opportunity for the tax increase. Right. The ones that did vote for it are the following: Jimmy Espeldon. Now, I'm trying to figure out, and I haven't had a chance to sit down with Jimmy, but you know, there's some speculation that maybe he's had enough of the legislature. He was out, and then he's back in, and then they've got this brouhaha up in Saipan, and maybe it would be best for him to pay attention to that than anything else. That's the scuttle that I've heard. So I don't know that he has any intentions really of coming back.
There's going to be a lot of open seats in the legislature.
Well, yeah, and Fernando Esteves already said he wasn't going back in.
BJ.
BJ and Luis Munoz, Will Castro. There's Tommy Morrison. So I think Luis, Will, Tommy are probably going to be running again. BJ, who we know is not. Tom Atta, who we know is not running again. And then there's Joe S. St. Augustine, who I think if he gets reelected will probably end up being the adult supervision in the 35th Guam legislature.
The last of the state's people.
So I wonder how this is going to play out. Now, after the vote was done yesterday, and I wasn't able to watch the vote, right? I turned my head from the live shot from the legislature because they did a thing for Marie Halloran, and then they came back.
It was quick. They didn't waste any time.
Absolutely not. By the time I got there, it was the mea culpas, and Mike Sinicolas is up there with these really, really long pauses, the dramatic effect.
Oh, yeah, sure. For emphasis, yeah.
That was mine. I was making my dramatic effect in there, but so by the time I got up there, it was just the beating of the chests and people explaining the way they voted, and then had the opportunity to go to Docomo for the grand opening of their building. And as you might imagine, the topic of the vote came up with pretty much everybody that I talked to. And I tell you what, among the business people that I spoke with last night, many of them were quite unhappy about the state that we are about to go into, and have expressed that they've got their fingers crossed that something is going to happen with this sales tax thing. There are quite a number of people that are for the sales tax. It's the new shiny, but then there's a bunch of people that are unconvinced that we'll be able to pull it off and pull it off correctly. In fact, even Jim Espeldon yesterday said, now that this is in, we've got to get to work on helping the Department of Revenue and Taxation set up this sales tax program.
They've got 6 months to get it right. The sales tax is not supposed to take effect until October 1st, so we'll see.
Right?
And there'll be a lot of changes.
There'll
be a lot of changes in all likelihood from what it looks like now.
Well, I mean, what will it even happen? Will it even happen is the question, because as he said he would. He said he would. Mike Sinicolas. The ink is barely dry on the paperwork that went from the legislature to the governor's office, and he has already introduced a bill relative to repealing the imposition of a general sales tax on Guam. He's just, we're starting right now. What did we just say? Sales tax in October? No, not going to happen. So, as Kevin Kerrigan says, we're not out of the drama yet. So I suppose I suppose we'll be okay here on the radio station in terms of topics. 888-8255 is the phone number if you want to express your chagrin, express your support, or whatever. Throw in your comments to the growing pile of comments. You're more than welcome to do it. It's not the only thing, obviously, that is happening around here. There's going to be a whole nother set. There's going to be a whole shoe store worth of shoes that are going to continue to drop on this thing. And it's also possible that many of the people that voted to support the measure, we may watch and see them come out with some revenue enhancement or cost control ideas in the future. At least many of them said they would. Get the feeling like, hey, we needed to do this immediate cash infusion for the government and get everybody get everybody back to work and hold off on layoffs and furloughs and things like that. Is this going to happen? Are they going to be able to do it? Are we going to be able to cover the payroll at the end of the month?
I cannot predict the future.
Right? Because they quote, barely were able to do it before. So what's the plan moving forward? Because even if the governor went down to them today with a fiscal realignment plan,
May 20th would be the soonest.
That would be the number, right? Yeah. So that takes us through the end of this month, and then all of April with the barely. And then a pay period in May before we're able to see anything come back off this increase in the BPT.
The argument that I've heard is that once they know that revenue will be coming in, that gives them a better idea of what's available and they can plan better. So
okay, well,
we'll see.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that helps a whole lot of vendors. That could be one of the problems. If vendors have been already been told that
last on the list.
Yeah. Hope not last on the list for the people that run the insurance for the retirees. They're already holding the bag for millions of dollars, and I haven't heard anybody say that they're going to be pulling back, no matter what the legislature does, that they will be pulling back on their threats to cancel the retiree insurance in this town. Many of these people haven't been paid in months. Forget about the Trump tax cuts. That's just the new wrinkle. They haven't been paid in months on this thing, which is odd, isn't it? It was so while they weren't getting paid for the retiree insurance, there was still talk about handing out pay raises for people, right? We got money for pay raises, but we don't have money for. I'm just saying. So we'll have a number of conversations and find out what some of the next steps are going to be. Though, well, I'm just thinking out loud, and the stream of consciousness that is this portion of the show, I wonder if the increase in the BPT, which is going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen. The governor is going to make another copy of the plan that he already sent to the legislature, and that's going to be the plan, and that will trigger the increase in the BPT, which should be fairly easy. Members in the private sector, just go to your POS systems, and well, you don't even have to. You can just raise the prices now if you want to. That's all you got to do. And when you make your reports, it's 5%, not 4%. That's it. And as far as anybody else is concerned, that's the way it is. A lot of people are saying, will the prices come down if it goes away? And the answer,
a lot of people are saying no.
The answer is no, it won't. It won't, because you know why? Because the private sector works like that. If they know that you will pay a certain price for something, guess what? That's the new price. That's the way it is. The market will push a new number, and then people will say, okay, that's the new number for it. I guess that's what we're paying for a sack of rice or a case of beer.
Well, it's not like we have a whole lot of choice. You know, we're out here on this rock in the middle of a vast ocean.
Well, we can grow our own or make our own where we can, but frankly, I've always found that probably makes things a little bit more expensive. 6:28 in the morning. The question that I've got is, will it change your spending habits? Will an increase, a 1% increase in the BPT, change your spending habits? And I suppose the answer is, if it's only 1%, probably not. But if there's
it's on top of everything else, gas, power, you name it.
Which I think I've done a pretty good job illustrating over the last several days what the costs are.
But you got a little more money in your pocket because of the tax cuts, right? The federal tax cuts.
But I'm going to be upside
rejoinder.
down. I'm going to be upside down on everything else because of the other increases that we're going to face. Shall I go through them again?
That's equalization.
Yeah, equalization. That's what the governor calls it. So the price of gas already went up because of the increase in the liquid fuels tax, correct?
And other factors.
And other factors like because Tapas has gone up. So those are the factors there. We had ALEAC in February. There's going to be another one in May. Right. So we'll see that number trend up a little bit more. Got anything else that's going to be going up? Port's got this new tariff that they're going to be putting in place, right? Support the bond that they're asking for in San Francisco these days. So what's the tariff? That's an expense for the port users, and they're going to happily pay it after they pass the costs along to their customers, who will then pass it along to us.
So there goes the Trump tax cut.
Exactly. That's exactly the point that I'm making. And then we've got the 2% thing that's supposed to come in October.
There's another thing that's going to go up that we haven't talked much about because it's kind of under the radar. But once people start coming over with their H-2B visas to start working, the price of rent's going to go up because it's all about supply and demand.
And there seems to be some places that could use some new housing options, and Guam is among them. That is a good point. So watch out for some of those things. And then Ken Leon Guerrero is fond of reminding us that in addition to the tax cuts, there may also be cuts in the quality and quantity of government-funded programs, federal government-funded programs, for which, as usual, the people of Guam were given for almost nothing from the federal government. Said, here, this great new program, and it'll put the light and the dazzle in everybody's eyes, and it's 100% federally funded. And that's great. A couple of years later, it's only 50% federally funded. And then before you know it, the people cannot live without it, but the federal government says, no, we're not paying for this anymore. If you want to keep doing it, you do it on your own. You pay for it. And that's where I think we're going to see some reorganization opportunities like the kind that are in the bill. So you want to talk about it? Fine. You got other things on your mind? We'll talk about that as well. I would like to welcome Vanessa Williams to Guam, actress and singer and beauty queen from Once Upon a Time, who is out here to support a concert this weekend and raise awareness for diabetes. Welcome to Guam. Welcome to the community, and best wishes and good luck on your show. 6:32 in the morning. We've got to do headlines with Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post.
Alpha Day and Good Morning Guam. News time here at The Point is 33 minutes past 6 a.m. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, Guam lawmakers passing a complex revenue measure yesterday afternoon that the governor says he will sign into law. Bill 248 calling for two separate tax increases, a temporary 1 percentage point increase in the business privilege tax, which would expire on September 30th, followed by a 2% sales tax, which has no expiration date. The bill requires the governor to submit a revised fiscal realignment plan that includes no less than $30 million in budget cuts, and it also provides the governor with broad powers to consolidate or eliminate various GovGuam agencies. The tax bill passed on a vote of 8-7. Voting for it were Republican Senators Jim Espeldon, Fernando Estevez, Luis Muñoz, Will Castro, and Tommy Morrison. They were joined by Democrat Speaker Benjamin Cruz and Democrat Senators Tom Adda and Josann Augustine. Immediately after yesterday's vote, Senator Michael San Nicolas announced that he's introducing a measure to repeal the sales tax portion of the new revenue bill. He said fear and intimidation and force was the formula to develop this policy and impose this pain on our people. Meanwhile, Senator Talina Nelson, who also voted against the tax package, said during the course of the acrimonious debate over the past month, she and other senators received threatening text messages because somehow, she said, our phone numbers were leaked. Our privacy was violated, she said. Representatives from the Concerned Catholics of Guam say they're going to the Department of Revenue and Taxation today to inspect documents they FOIA'd related to Kamalan Caridad's tax status. The organization filed a Sunshine Act request in December to inspect Kamalan Caridad's Form 990 annual returns. Another request was filed on March 2nd. Organization President David Sablan says the group wants to inspect the annual reports filed by the Catholic charity from 1994 to 2016. He said they're looking specifically for the list of officers and board members and other corporate information that should have been filed with Rev and Tax. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Portions of the program, this one in particular, brought to you by iConnect. iConnect time in the studios of The Point is 6:35. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
When you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
The Friday version of the Raymond Gibson Show brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and Group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
It says Subway's got your fresh choices for Lent. Sink your teeth into the classic tuna or indulge in the mouthwatering greatness of our seafood sensation. Or try the tasty Veggie Max, a delicious vegetarian patty free of artificial colors and flavors. Visit any of our convenient locations today at Subway. Fresh is what they do.
At GTA, we believe you deserve better than home internet with hidden data fees. That's why all our internet plans are unlimited, because streaming your favorite shows while cooking dinner shouldn't cause indigestion when the internet bill comes. So the choice is yours. Bill shock with the other guys, or a life unlimited with GTA. Say goodbye to hidden data fees and make the switch today. GTA, your island, your network.
Yeah, there's a little bit of traffic here. I'm not seeing anything serious on the Gizmo, but I will tell you that some of the usual spots are starting to build up, even as early as 6:37 in the morning. Getting out of Gigo, down south into Dededo, and making your way to the intersection of Marine Corps Drive and Route 3. There's traffic out there, but as I said, nothing that's gonna slow you down too much. Getting into Agana on Route 8 should be smooth sailing up through the intersection of Route 4 and Route 10. A little bit of the ways through Ordot, and after that it should be smooth sailing into the downtown Hagåtña area. Southbound Marine Corps Drive on the way into Sumai, you might see a little bit of congestion starting right about now, but that's it. That's what's happening on the roadways right now. Traffic here on The Point.
Hafaday, my name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's 6:39 on our way to 7 o'clock in the morning, on our way to an incredible Friday, and for a lot of people, an incredible weekend. I hope, the fingers crossed, that you've got a whole gaggle of plans that'll keep you busy through the next couple of days, i.e. Vanessa Williams concert. And what have we got over the weekend? We've got Special Olympics that's going to be taking place. So
That's right.
What's the numbers on that?
At Okudo High School. That's going to be tomorrow morning. That kicks off at 5:30. And they've got a lot going on out there, a lot of events. Opening ceremonies at 8 a.m. So Special Olympics Guam, Okudo High School.
If you're looking for a job, and it looks like that Pacific Rim deal had a ton of people go out for it, and including, and I was delighted to read about this, they actually wrote a story about it in the Daily Post, including a young person who, admittedly, I have no skills. I don't know anything about working. It would be my first job. And
great opportunity to learn new skills.
Exactly. And so here these guys are, Pacific Rim, saying, no, we'll take all comers. So if you know something, wonderful. If you don't know something, something. We'll train you. It'll get you a decent salary. You get to goof off up in Saipan, which is awesome. And then by the time you're all done with the projects, you ought to have a sufficient level of skills to be able to apply for almost any job associated with the military buildup. So if you might want to still see if you can get your application in over at Pacific Rim. If not, then something else that you might want to line yourself up for, sharpen up your resume. The University of Guam is announcing this morning with their AGB search partners the presidential search for someone to an innovative leader who will, quote, build on Dr. Underwood's Good to Great campaign. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I did want to bring in some of the other voices here, talk about some of the other interesting stories, including Bill 248 and its passage over at the legislature. Senator Bob Klitsky, good morning.
Good morning, Ray.
How doing there?
I'm doing fine. Yourself?
I'm living the dream. Can you hear it in the rainbows and the unicorns out of my voice?
It's theater of the radio, Ray. I'm looking at this picture of fluffy white clouds ridden by Ray Gibson.
Imagine that. That's me every day.
Well, having been a regular listener of yours ever since, I can understand it completely.
Well, here's the deal. And being a regular listener, when I've been handed something, excuse me, that frankly we can take the rest of the year to talk about. I will never need a first topic idea for the program, because every day we'll be able to talk about BPTs, and when we're done talking about BPTs, we'll be able to talk about sales taxes, and what's the early over and under on the ability of the Department of Revenue and Taxation to promulgate rules and regulations that will be accepted and adopted by the legislature.
Well, if you looked in the dictionary for the definition of the word eternity, you would find what you just said.
We ought to do a show together, you and I.
Well, make me an offer I can't refuse, Ray, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll work on that. I don't know. What do you do in the afternoons?
I got some really heavy-duty stuff, like long walks, writing poison pen letters to the editor.
Well, you can do that here while the news is playing. We'll talk about some opportunities down the road, because your name keeps coming up. Everybody, every once in a while says, Ray, it's great. You got the morning show, and there's Kevin there, and there's Mike over there, but we need somebody in the afternoon to raise some hell as well. And every time I say, well, who do you suggest? Sometimes the answer is Bob Klitsky.
Could I have your permission to be self-laudatory for just a moment, Ray?
I granted.
As though I ever needed it. There was a time last year when I was the host of the top-rated afternoon talk show in the entire Western Pacific.
I remember that time.
Yeah, it was called Tall Tales, and it was the top-rated afternoon talk show in the Western Pacific.
And number one rated because?
Was the only talk show.
There you go. There you go. It's self-laudatory is fine. They said nobody else wanted to be in the game because you were already there.
I suppose.
That's it. If you win every battle by making sure you never have to get into battles, the old Sun Tzu trick. So, what did you think of 248?
Well, I guess I'm going to assume that the leave that you granted me is still available. I'm looking at the testimony that I submitted on March 8th on 258, and there's just a couple of sections here that I'd like to read. One section says, well, let's just get through this cash emergency, then we'll work on long-term solutions. Well, that won't cut it anymore. And then I went on to say, tie this tax increase to the provisions of Bill 247, and you will have performed the Missouri maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
As I indicated in my March 7 testimony, parliamentary acrobatics and et cetera, and use of a standing rule will allow you to perform the Missouri maneuver, and a bill with a close-at-hand sunset provision imposing a 1% sales tax that incorporates the provisions of 247 passing muster with Section 2 infra would get my support. In other words, I said, if you incorporate the provisions of 247,
which they did,
1% tax increase,
which is there,
with a close-in sunset,
October 1,
then I can support it.
So you're okay with this?
I'm not okay with it. I can live with it.
All right.
Put it that way. I never saw a tax that I liked, but sometimes you look down the road, and like Sun Tzu, you see that sometimes there's a fait accompli staring you in the face. So rather than go head on into destruction, sometimes you have to kind of compromise, yield, bend a little bit. And I'm very optimistic because this ought to get to the governor to the point where he can't complain anymore about I need more money.
Mm-hmm.
But he's really going to have to live within his means. He's going to have to use the provisions of Bill 247 to work on a long-term solution. And I suspect that the bill to repeal the sales tax that's supposed to kick in on the 1st of October has probably already been introduced. And if it hasn't, it'll be introduced today.
I was just looking at it. Mike St. Nicholas dropped it almost immediately. It doesn't have a bill number, but it's there.
There you go. So then we can have this fun all over again. But this time around, I think it's going to be much more difficult to persuade 8 people, or depending on how many are there, enough people to vote to vote to keep that tax increase, that it'll be there. So I think what we're going to have is a 1% increase on GRT that will expire on the 1st of October. I think we will have a budget for the next fiscal year that's going to be much trimmer. And in the meantime, I think the governor's going to have to really get serious about changing the way that we do business, so we get down to the point that we have a government, a efficient, effective government operating within the rule of law, providing basic government services on at least a break-even basis.
And before I let you go, I'm okay with this too. You go through it, the heart of hearts thing, and decide that we are in a big crunch. We do need to do some of the things that listeners have been advocating for, cuts and some serious changes to the way we do government. I was just very worried, and I'm sure that you thought about it as well the other day when they were in session, when Tom Atta dropped his amendment to Mike St. Nicholas's amendment that changed the effective date to immediately upon submission of a fiscal realignment plan, as opposed to 30 days after the enactment of a fiscal realignment plan that would have been approved by the legislature. So now we don't necessarily have the option in my mind of being able to do the horse trading and the acrobatics, if you will, and the negotiations with the governor's office, between the legislature and the governor's office, to enact these fiscal realignment ideas. Now all he's got to do is, like I said, dust off a copy of what he sent to him last month, and there we go. Let's get started with this increase in the BPT.
As I understand it from what I heard last night, the governor could send over his grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies, and that would suffice under the statute, under the Tom Atta amendment.
Exactly. So it was the hard rail, the hard edge that I was kind of looking for, and I was okay with it. And then I found out they changed it, and I bit through a piece of rebar, because I don't know now that there is any requirement to do anything more sophisticated than what has already been done.
I think you're right.
And so we'll keep an eye on that. I've got my fingers crossed that the guys over at the governor's office and the fiscal team will hear this. And then we've got some other things that we can chew on as well. So I'm going to ponder that with a couple of other guys and talk to you soon.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Senator. Always a pleasure talking with you. 888-8255. My name is Ray. Got Ken on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm standing here in the field in front of my house watching a herd of unicorns prancing across the field under a triple rainbow with leprechauns and a pot of gold at each side.
Oh, you're making my teddy bear laugh.
Well, I'm kind of the same thought as Bob Klitsky is. We were hoping, both of us, that there would be some teeth in the sales bill. We weren't expecting the bill to grant the business privilege tax increase. We were looking at a pure sales tax bill with teeth. And now, like you said, we've got a bill where if we just send over a recipe for oatmeal cookies, the tax goes up, and no guarantee that this administration will follow through on any of the 247 provisions.
Well, I suppose this is the part, Ken, where we say, you know, I might have been disappointed in the past. I might have my reservations and my trust issues with the government. And not just Eddie Calvo, not just Eddie and Ray at Adelup right now. I mean, I've got trust issues with the government of Guam that go back to Ricky Berdallo days. So I'm going, I just don't, please show me how I can believe you now. How do I believe you? Please send over something that will give me hope that this isn't just some kind of game.
Well, if they were going to do that, you know, what they should have been doing, because in 2015, they identified $169 million in uncollected taxes. And in 2016, the legislature gave revenue tax on $1.5 million to recruit and train people to collect taxes. We discover in 2018 that they've just hired the people, and they expect sometime soon to have a few of them on the floor, and they're still looking for the rest of them. And then we discover in 2018 that there's $24 million in uncollected hotel tax because
no, hotel revenues. It would be 11% of the $24 million.
Oh, okay. Well, 11% of the $24 million.
Yeah.
And then we also discover there's about, I think the number was $17 million in uncollected property taxes because Revenue Tax doesn't know who owns the property.
Well, guess what? If you guys don't know who owns it, I do. Then it's ours. Then it belongs to the people of Guam. Sell it at a tax auction.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah, I know law.
This is why I have no faith that we're going to be able to get the mechanics of a sales tax in place, because we still haven't gotten any relief in the form of operational cuts that are supposed to be taking place. So my view is this. The 1% increase raises the cash flow just enough for Adelup to keep kicking the can down the road for this to become the next governor's problem.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm apprehensive about. And I don't know whether I've got any more benefit of the doubt to give. So I want to be surprised today. I want to be happily surprised. I want to be sitting on my couch and getting back to binge watching one of my television shows, and then have a thing from Kevin in the afternoon that says, "Here's what the governor's office sent down," and it has everything that we've ever wanted in our lives. And all of the provisions for reorganization, and requires John Camacho and my prima Marie Benito to go out there and start collecting on some of those uncollected taxes, some kind of a tax amnesty or something. Just give me a sign. Doesn't have to be a big sign. Just give me a sign.
Maybe they would issue an executive order and roll back the rest of the 2014 executive pay raises and save about $10 million a year right there.
Wait a second. I'm asking for little signs here, not big miracles. What do you just? That's Our Lady of Fatima size miracle there, buddy.
Okay. Then to say all the administration officials who are running for the legislature will resign from their position so that the taxpayers won't be paying them while they run for office.
Ooh.
That'll be, maybe 300,000 or 400,000.
Well. So that's where we are. You and I, not necessarily off on too much of a tangent. I get it. I was, my idea, and I can see where BJ is on this. We've got revenue enhancement in the form of a % increase in the BPT, and about $30 million worth of cuts and reorganization that needs to be coming from the governor's office. I'm pretty sure that's what was in his head when he voted yes on the deal yesterday. So I'm going to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Ken.
All right.
Try to have an awesome morning. As usual, have a great weekend. Look out for the unicorns.
Here they come again.
The Ray Gibson Show on the Point. 6:55. Buenos, John.
Hey, good morning. Half a day.
Half a day. What you got planned for the weekend? Anything big?
So, let's try to get it. I'm trying to get past today.
Just want to get. Never mind Tuesday. I just need to get past today. I got you.
For real. So my biggest thing is why did they backtrack on holding the governor responsible to submit his plan first? Then let's go to taxes after we have your plan. Because I don't know, maybe his mom's cookies are good, but we don't need that.
It was an overabundance of good faith. When I talked to Senator Anna about it yesterday, he said was it yesterday, day before? He said it was a good faith measure.
Well, that makes sense if you have a track record of being able to be held to good faith. But we all know the GovGuam ways and means. 4 guys there, 1 guy working. Run your debt and then ask everybody to back you out. Well, one thing I did want to ask is we had a run-in with some senators, and one of them had mentioned, why is nobody talking about, in the midst of all of this, $10 million was released to GVB. So the question is, was that released? And if it was, I mean, GVB, good work. They won the best table over in China. But, what real steps have they taken that we can say, yep, that's a track record?
Yeah.
Rather than just putting it out there in the news that, hey, we've got tons of Koreans coming, but they don't spend money like the Japanese. Are we that desperate that we're shooting ourselves in the foot by saying thank you for coming, but you're not as good as the Japanese or whatever?
Yeah, you got to be very delicate with that message here, because otherwise they're very capable of finding another place to go and shop and eat. Yeah. I'm unfamiliar with that. Maybe that's one of the reasons why nobody is talking about it. I'll see what I can find out. I'll see if I can get word to Nate, let him know that somebody's asking about $10 million being released to GVB.
All right, I appreciate it. Maybe it's so they can go to another forum and have a nice table. Let's win a nice plaque.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, but let's always be very, very careful. The big breadbasket around here is the military and visitors. So we've got to do what needs to get done to continue to be attractive. And if it means sending the dancers and the guys out to far-flung travel and trade shows, trust me, that's what the other guys are doing. So we've got to be there too.
Okay, so I'll be very careful, but our legislature should have been very careful as well.
Well, there's
operate on good faith.
Yeah, there's you take a look at the 8 people that voted yes on this bill, and I think some of them are going to have some splaining to do when it gets to be re-election time. Some of them aren't going to be running for re-election, so we'll watch and see how the electorate deals with this in the coming weeks. John, I'll talk to you later.
Roger that. Thank you.
Make it through the week. Make it through today. You can do it. I trust you. It's 6:58 and change here in the program. Fox News Live is coming up in the next hour. The program after Fox News Live, as a matter of fact, the Kevin Kerrigan news from the Guam Daily Post. And as I said, there's all kinds of other stuff. Jerry Roberts, Extra Point. And we're going to keep the lines open for you. 888-8255. That's 888-8255. So you can call in and tell me what you think about moves made by the legislature and maybe echo a little bit of my sentiment with this whole idea of okay, gonna get some paperwork from the governor. What's that going to end up? Show me a little sign, give me a little sign, just a taste, and make me a believer again. News from Fox News coming up.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. And this is a Fox News alert. A deadly bridge collapse in South Florida.
And one of the officers runs to get the radio, and then he runs right back out, and he's screaming, "The bridge, the bridge."
That witness describing a loud bang and then disbelief as a new pedestrian bridge nearing completion over an 8-lane highway came crashing down near Florida International University. A briefing held moments ago.
At approximately 1:30 this afternoon, we received a call for a collapsed bridge. Our units responded to find 8 trapped vehicles under the bridge. At this time, we've transported 8 victims to hospitals.
He's a division chief with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. Not sure yet how many people may still be trapped under the 950 tons of debris. Also, not yet confirming reports of fatalities. The bridge was being built as a safer way to cross the highway between the university campus and the city of Sweetwater, where the mayor is calling the collapse a national tragedy. It's in Congressman Carlos Curbello's district.
A new project that was actually designed to help save lives, because students have to cross that busy street and have had to for many years. This terrible irony where that bridge has now cost lives.
One student was killed crossing the same intersection last year. There have been reports a stress test may have been underway when the bridge collapsed, but for now, officials remain in search and rescue mode. The NTSB will also investigate. The U.S. slapping new sanctions on Russia over cyber attacks, including election meddling. On the same day, President Trump joins key allies blaming Russia for the poisoning of a former spy in Britain.
Certainly looks like the Russians were behind it. Something that should never, ever happen.
Russia still denies it and is reportedly working on retaliation for the spy claims and the sanction. Mixed finish on Wall Street. The Dow up 115, the S&P and the NASDAQ lower. Fair and balanced.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what Living United feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Recapping the latest in the pedestrian bridge collapse onto a highway near Florida International University. Emergency crews still in search and rescue mode confirm 8 vehicles were crushed. 8 people have been sent to the hospital. They are not confirming reports of fatalities or saying how many people may still be trapped. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has to decide by tomorrow whether to fire former Deputy FBI Chief Andrew McCabe before his retirement takes effect days from now.
Fox News has confirmed that one of the central issues is McCabe's statements to the Inspector General. The allegation is that he misled the Inspector General at the Justice Department or even lied to the Inspector General about his role in an October 2016 media report about the Clinton Foundation. Lying to federal investigators, of course, is a criminal act, and in this case, lying to investigators with the Inspector General would be grounds for termination.
Fox's Catherine Herridge in Washington. If McCabe is fired instead of retired, his pension would be affected. He's meeting with Justice Department officials today, trying to prevent termination. It's the end of an era that spanned generations.
Remember this? I don't want to grow up, 'cause baby, if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid.
Well, Toys R Us stores are closing now. Susan Beck used to shop there for holidays mostly. As more people shop online, Beck, who has grandkids now, says she still shops in person, but mostly at places where she can buy other items as well, not just toys.
I shop Target, Barnes & Noble, Bed Bath & Beyond. I haven't been in a Toys R Us in ages. It makes me sad.
More toys were actually sold through Toys R Us than Amazon, but the company filed for bankruptcy 6 months ago.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Closings will have a wide-ranging ripple effect. You can hear more on this on our podcast, the Fox News Rundown, tomorrow morning. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Are you waiting too long for a home loan decision? Are you looking for a bank that understands your needs and can close your loan quickly at today's super low rates? Then come no further than Bank Pacific. Our home loan specialists are friends and neighbors from your community, and our decisions are made right here in Hagåtña. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
It's super, stupendous, it's sensational. It's a sensational seafood menu at Ruby Tuesday with satisfying selections of classic entrees like the fish trio and new favorites like lobster carbonara or seafood pan roast. Try them all and enjoy sensational seafood for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
At GTA, we believe you deserve better than home internet with hidden data fees. That's why all our internet plans are unlimited, because streaming your favorite shows while cooking dinner shouldn't cause indigestion when the internet bill comes. So the choice is yours. Bill shock with the other guys, or a life unlimited with GTA. Say goodbye to hidden data fees and make the switch today. GTA, your island, your network.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam lawmakers passing a complex revenue measure yesterday afternoon that the governor says he will sign into law. Bill 248 calls for 2 separate tax increases, a temporary 1 percentage point increase in the business privilege tax, which expires September 30th, followed by a 2% sales tax, which has no expiration date. The bill requires the governor to submit a revised fiscal realignment plan that includes no less than $30 million in budget cuts, and it also provides the governor with broad powers to consolidate or eliminate various GovGuam agencies. It passed on a vote of 8-7, voting for the tax increase, where Republican Senators Jim Espaldon, Fernando Estevez, Luis Muñoz, Will Castro, and Tommy Morrison. They were joined by Democratic Speaker Benjamin Cruz and Democratic Senators Tom Atta and Joe San Augustine. Immediately after yesterday's vote, Senator Michael San Nicolas announced that he's introducing a measure to repeal the sales tax portion of the new revenue measure. He said fear and intimidation and force was the formula to develop this policy and impose this pain on our people, he said. The decision was not an easy one, said Senator Jim Espaldon, who voted for the increase. However, the reality is there is a financial crunch that's going to affect the operations of our government unless we do something, he said. Governor's Communications Director, Oya Nirarikral, said that the governor would sign the bill as soon as he gets it. No word yet on whether he's done that yet. No word on whether or not the 90-day furlough notice and public park closures will be rescinded. Nor is it clear yet that the measure will allow the public safety facilities that were closed to reopen. In a release yesterday afternoon, the governor said, "We now have a roadmap that helps us bridge the $67 million revenue shortfall." However, he warned that more needs to be done. More news after this.
Chili's has the seafood you crave, the flavors you love, at a great price with our 3 for Me Lent menu. For just $15, you can get a beverage, fresh salad, and a Lent-friendly entree. First, choose from a refreshing Coca-Cola, iced tea, or Heineken on draft. Then enjoy a fresh house salad right before you indulge in your choice of a mouth-watering entree, like our spicy shrimp tacos, savory Cajun pasta with shrimp, or our flavorful grilled ancho salmon. Chili's 3 for Me Lent menu for just $15. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. 4 people were taken into police custody yesterday afternoon during a drug raid in the Harmon Industrial Park. Members of the Mandanya Drug Task Force were joined by the SWAT team and the K-9 unit. They raided a second-floor apartment at the Sabana Condos. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tabao confirmed that police had taken 2 women and a man into custody during the raid. Another man was taken into custody about an hour before the raid occurred. He was seen in handcuffs, bleeding from his head. SWAT officers arrested him after he reportedly jumped from the balcony of one of the condos. Police have not released the names of the suspects or the charges against them or what items were found during that raid. Guam Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo questioning Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke yesterday during an oversight hearing on President Trump's proposed budget for the 2019 fiscal year. In a release, Bordallo says that she said more money is needed to help Guam address the inadequacy of compact impact funding and Guam's current budget crisis caused by the Republican tax law, she said. The Congresswoman also called on Secretary Zinke to support increased voting rights for the U.S. territories. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
I thought maybe a good time to roll in and tell you what's supposed to be happening on the weather today. Except I forgot where I put it. Partly cloudy skies in the forecast and daytime highs in the upper 80s, overnight lows in the mid-70s. We know that there is a fire watch warning for the next 24 hours or so.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
until
right. Yeah,
tomorrow,
winds are supposed to pick up a little bit today, die down tomorrow, but then pick back up on Sunday. So, yeah, it could be a fire danger watch right now in effect through tomorrow afternoon.
All right, and if you're going near the water, go on the west side because the eastern side is under a watch there as well. A lot of that extra wind is pushing some of the wave activity, and it's going to make for a rough day out there on the water. If you've got a boat, if you don't have a boat and you're out there on just swimming around, could get very, very dicey, as J.I. will say. 7:11 in the morning, and that's weather and news on The Point.
We have those moments in our lives that happen unpredictably. The unexpected instances that we did not really need. Now you can count on us to stay well, Papa to live well, Papa to stay well, making sure you stay well. Oh, we'll lift you up when times are low. Now see how far we'll go, and stay well.
Stay Well Insurance. See how far we'll go.
Oh, see, that's where the weather was. It was right behind the copy for King's Restaurant, serving Guam's favorites to families for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open and always local.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Is there more that I get to tell
Every
you?
morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Who do you think you are, Einstein? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll get inside the mind of a guy who knew a lot more about people than most folks thought.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Wendy's welcomes the new Smoky
Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger, featuring smoky, sauteed portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese, crispy applewood smoked bacon, and crunchy fried onions atop a juicy beef patty. For those craving the same great taste, Wendy's Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato is also loaded with sauteed portobello mushrooms, cheddar cheese sauce, and crispy applewood smoked bacon. Here, for a limited time, get a delicious Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger and Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato today. Wendy's. Now that's better.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
And the people, they ask me, they say, what does that mean? Any speaker, anytime? Well, that's the way people consume media in 2018. When you and I were little kids, if you wanted to watch the Rosary Hour on KUAM, you had to be there on Sunday night at 7 o'clock for the Rosary Hour. That was it. There was no DVR. There was no videotape machine. There was no rebroadcast of it, thank God. And so you had to be there. It's 2018, and frankly, you consume media on your own schedule, Netflix and chill. And you don't need a transmitter. We've got one, but you don't absolutely need it. We could be doing this straight to the web and touch a whole lot of lives that way. In fact, we do go straight to the web. Point.gu, and our Facebook stream is on. And so let me say good morning to Carlo Branch, who works over at Senator B.J. Cruz's office. I like this name. Paul James Sablan Rabagoo. Good morning there, buddy. Brian B. is listening off island. Chris Delfino's there. My running partner, John Wigston, has got the stream playing in the house. That's nice. Lynn Polino, Tommy Barcinas, Deborah Wise, who provides this piece of advice. Good morning, Ray. Another thing to do this weekend could be to enjoy a concert by the Guam Symphony Society Saturday evening or Sunday afternoon at the UOG Fine Arts Building. They sound really good, and they offer a variety of classical songs at this concert. And the other great thing is they have a timpani.
What's that?
You don't know what a timpani is?
I do not.
We haven't loaded up a timpani yet. Sound
I
effect
haven't got the
yet.
timpani. No, the best I got's the drum roll.
It's the expensive. It's the formal version of a drum roll. It's the big round kettle thing, and when you
kettle drum.
It's like this,
but much
but
lower.
better.
Yeah, right. That's like a cartoon thing, but I mean, this is a timpani. It's got some throat on it. You know what I mean? My buddy James Howard says we got screwed over again from the people that are supposed to protect us. This is how the people feel about this. That I know. And Susan Babas listening to us in Vegas, where it is 54 degrees with showers along the strip. Yep, the desert does get rain. You know what's crazy is when it gets snow out in Vegas,
and it can happen.
I've got an Auntie Ginger that lives out there, and she will report from time to time that they got some snow in the desert. And Brad is asking Boss 104, lots of SRV from Mike. I hope tomorrow morning.
Oh, that and some ZZ Top and, other little old bands from Texas.
What's that SRV?
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh!
Yeah.
I like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray rocks.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'd never referred to him as in his initials.
Oh, yeah. That's for when you're in a hurry and having a music talk.
He had that etched on his guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy was incredible. I was at a concert in Hawaii, and this 1984, right? It was the Police. They were the headliners. Nice. And Bryan Adams was there.
Wow.
And then, just before the last minute push to sell the tickets in the Aloha Stadium, they said, and Stevie Ray Vaughan is going to be performing. And I about lost my mind, but nobody else in my age group at the time had any idea who this guy was. Really? Oh, wow, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And so I was able to get to the edge of the stage because there's 125,000 people in the Aloha Stadium basically looking in the other direction because they had no idea the genius that was up on the stage. Yeah. I think I've got a channel for him on my Spotify. And Nick Perlowski is listening this morning and says that listening to The Point on a Friday morning doesn't get any better than this. Let me add to that, Nick Perlowski listening on a Friday morning, thinking about the night before was Melissa's birthday last night. So congrats, happy birthday to her. She's one of my classmates along with Polly Eric, who celebrated his birthday yesterday as well. Anyway, 7:19. I'm sorry, I just completely lost track of the show here today. There is so much out there to talk about, but it's always nice to stop down and say hello to everybody. You want to take a look at what happened on the numbers? Let's see here. The Dow Jones Industrial Average picked up 115 points, closing at 24,873. The Nasdaq in the red but only by about 15 points, 7,481, and the S&P 500 closed at 2747, off by just a couple of points. Hardly worth even mentioning today. Nikkei picks up 26 points to close at 21,803, and if you're headed to Japan, it is 106.31. Where's the peso? Where's the peso from the Philippines? You got a number on that?
Last I checked, it was around 52 to the U.S. dollar. Haven't seen it lately. I can check it.
All right, I'll find out when I get there and land. West Texas trading at $61.19 for a barrel of Sweet Texas crude. Tapis at $65.94, and that number is down, but it's not down enough to make any kind of difference in the world. The big headlines today: financial news. Toys R Us closing all of its U.S. stores, and for those of you that don't know. And you know what? I was one of them until about 6 or 7 months ago. That may include the Toys R Us store that is on Guam, the Toys R Us Express. Folks over at the Post reached out to them, but were given numbers for the off-island, headquarters, and nobody is answering the phone in the off-island headquarters. What's up with that?
We'll just have to wait and see.
Man,
corporate politics.
Why are they closing? Is it all the internet? Do you think that's what it is? Is it just the brick and mortar nature of it? So many other places to get.
All the brick and mortar places are hurting, aren't they?
Yeah. But I can't help but think that maybe there's a part of this that we haven't acknowledged, is that the toys today maybe aren't as good as the toys that we grew up with. Can you think about it? I mean, what did you get? What did your mom and dad get you when you were a kid? What did you want?
A fire truck, toy soldiers.
Right. Okay, I'm a toy soldier guy. I was a G.I. Joe dude. G.I. Joe?
I didn't get to G.I. Joe. I just had the little plastic guys.
The little
Yeah. That way, you take a BB gun and shoot at them when they're on the couch.
Army man and BB gun. Nobody gives their kids Army men anymore.
No.
Because it's a militaristic. Nobody gives their kids BB guns anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Just give them knives and BB guns, and then you trust them with those things. They aren't going to shoot their eye out, I promise.
No, they're not. No, I would leave my house at 8 o'clock in the morning in the summer, get on my bike, and go somewhere and be gone till 6. And you can bet my parents really weren't that worried about it.
Yep.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
With range children. That's what free range children. That's what we call them. And so I think about it now. You got kids that are more involved in apps and iPads. And if they want to get tactile with something, my daughter is completely uninterested in any kind of amusement other than something that the kids have been doing for the last couple of years. I thought it was a fad, but it continues to grow. Is that making slime? You familiar with that?
I have no clue. Yeah.
You glue, Elmer's glue, and I want to say a little bit of borax or something like that. And they mix it up with a couple of other things, and they make slime. And I thought, well, this is interesting. Is it making slime? And, a little bit of chemistry in there. And you mix in some colors, and you can mix in little pieces of styrofoam and make a thing called Floam.
What do you do with it?
Wow.
You sell it to your friends on eBay, believe it or not. I'm telling you what the kids are into. This is why the Toys R Us are closing. A couple of other big news stories for you, and I had a chance to see my friends Molly and Duncan last night, and we got to talking about programs on the radio station, including Free Talk Live, which is one of the early adopters on Bitcoin. And if you are a Bitcoin person, this is probably old news to you. Over $60 billion have been wiped off the value of cryptocurrencies in 24 hours as the Bitcoin slide continues. You remember when they were talking about Bitcoin near 20 grand?
Too much. It was always too much.
I like to think I'm a pretty, intelligent guy. Right. The concept of Bitcoin, right over my head. Anyway, so they've got some issues regulatory scrutiny, and Google has announced plans to ban advertising related to the cyber currency sector. And so Bitcoin now trading at about $8,219, which frankly is still a lot. I know guys that bought into Bitcoin while it was in the hundreds of dollars, and I thought, you people are crazy.
I hope they got out.
Well, maybe get out while the getting is good if you can find some people to buy up that currency. Anyway, 723, that's what happened in the market, and all kinds of other stuff in my head. It's 7 and time for now today's daily extra point feature with Jerry Roberts.
Today, the musings of a pretty bright guy. I'm Jerry Roberts, and that's next on the Extra Point. I think it was the 8th grade, and one day in history class I was asked a question, and since it was one of my 2 favorite subjects and I had just read up on the topic, I gave a pretty detailed answer, which earned some praise from the teacher. Trust me, it didn't happen often. But then one of the guys behind me said, who do you think you are, Jerry? Einstein? That's Einstein as in Albert Einstein, as in the theory of relativity, and one of the fathers of the atomic age. This all came to mind a few days ago when I came across some great quotes he gave over the years. Quotes that fit in perfectly with business as well as life in general. 1. Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. Think about it. We all know people who go negative on everything. People who, if running a newspaper 2,000 years ago and witnessed Christ walking on water, would have printed a screaming headline, "Jesus can't swim." You know who those people are in your life. 2, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Assembling the very same people to try to clean up a mess might not be the way to go. Here's a thought. Bring in people who may have different input to give you new ideas, people who don't have any vested interest in the end result. And the third quote from Einstein. It's not one of his better-known statements, but I think there's value here. Weak people revenge. Strong people forgive. Intelligent people ignore. I'm going to bypass the revenge factor because I think it's obvious. Revenge only leads to more of it. Now, forgiving is wonderful, and we should do it, never holding a grudge or continually bringing up the past. Are there times, however, when we can just turn away from whatever has happened? I think so. Do I need to make an issue of every mistake made by a worker or my kid? Or once in a while, can I just pretend I didn't see and let a lesson sink in on its own? Top animal trainers will tell you they ignore poor behavior and give the snack when the animal correctly follows instructions. In most cases, the animal figures it out. I only get fed if I do this. Okay, I'll do more of that. So you want to be more like Einstein? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. A lot of things he said were totally down to earth. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
And as the lady in the promo says, if you want a copy of that, the text version of it, then what you do is you go over to GuamTraining.com. Can't find that. Go to thepoint.gu, and under On Air, Jerry Roberts will appear, and then all you got to do is click that, and it will take you to all of his websites and Twitters and Instagrams and Snapchats and website. All right, Extra Point, 726, headlines on the way.
Join the most excellent of egg hunts. Chuck E. Cheese's Guam is holding their annual indoor egg hunts on Tuesday, March 27th from 3 to 7 p.m. Pre-register for the right age group in one of the 4 egg hunts per hour. Bring your baskets to hunt those eggs. Stay and play for the best experience. Call 647-4544 to register or stop in the restaurant and sign up. Excellent egg hunts at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam.
Right now, traffic, and we call it that because I'm looking at live traffic information on my traffic gizmo here at the point, which tells me, and you almost don't need a gizmo. It's 7:30 in the morning. You know traffic is going to be ugly getting out of the north end of town, and it's beginning to build as usual around this time of day. It's not very pretty along Route 3 towards Marine Corps Drive. If you're already on Marine Corps Drive heading closer to Route 3, you'll begin to experience some slowdowns there. A little bit of clear sailing once you're past that, but again, you get by Kmart and John F. Kennedy High School, and all bets are off. It's that whole St. John's intersection that I'm always telling you about. And it looks like we got a little bit of traffic building in both directions in Mangilau. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more and see whereabouts this is. So, yeah. near from the Floripago intersection. I think it's over by that intersection, taking you into Maimai. I think that's what it is. So be on the lookout for a little bit of slowing down there. It doesn't say stops; it just say building through that intersection. At 4 and 10, also getting busy this morning. At 7:28, that's right now. Traffic on the point.
We have those moments in our lives that happen unpredictably. The unexpected instances that we did not really need. Now you can count on us to stay well, Papa to live well, Papa to stay well, making sure you stay well. Oh, I'll lift you up when times are low. I'll see how far we'll go, and stay well.
Stay Well Insurance. See how far we'll go.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Mangilao on Route 10, Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Mangilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
I want to go watch this band this weekend. That's what I want to go watch. Where are they playing at? Never mind Vanessa. Never mind the territorial band. I want to listen to these guys. Throw down some of that rockabilly.
You know, I hear this and I think about the Batman episode where he was doing the peace sign across the face. I don't even know what you call that.
That's the old Batman.
Yeah,
that's the
60s. Is there any other really?
No. As far as I'm concerned, all of the Batmans. This is my old school. This is me just being a curmudgeon and being stubborn. Have I seen the Batman movies that came out in the 80s and 90s? Yes. Do they suck? Yes. Do all the Superman shows suck? Yes. I'm stuck in that time in 67, 68. Adam West and what's his name? The Ward, were the Batman and Robin. There's no other. And that Batman and Robin costume.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all it is to me. All of the new stuff out there, it just doesn't resonate at all.
Remember those effects? Pow, boom,
zap, zowie, right? Yeah.
And the thing that got me were some of the very well-known, most famous at the time actors and actresses that actually, went through the show and did their little guest appearances, and then some were regulars. I mean, you had Burgess Meredith,
the Penguin.
Yeah. You had the Joker.
I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah. And I can't remember his name now.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. But he was classic. I mean, he'd won.
The guy who was on High Chaparral.
Yeah, that guy.
Different guy. You can watch High Chaparral. You can binge on that if you want to. It's one of those things that are out there on the Netflix. Anyway, so it just me. There was when I was growing up, and this was cause for a little bit of tension in the family. I liked G.I. Joes. I'm because for me that was fun to be able to assemble all of the gadgets and the gizmos that came with your G.I. Joe, or that G.I. Joe franchise. You remember the Jeep, and then they came out with the G.I. Joe with a beard and the one with the kung fu grip and talking. I had all those toys.
Yeah,
but my stepfather didn't want to get them for me because he considered them dolls. Not action figures.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it was a little bit of a, there were the things I wanted. So you're going to play with your dolls? I mean, no, they're war action figures.
A big toy soldier.
Exactly. And they're moldable and they're posable and they can date Barbie. Right?
I didn't get the G.I. Joes, but I did get the Star Trek.
You did? When there was another one, you can find them on eBay if you're really interested in trying to relive this moment from the past. G.I. Joes were doing so well. There was another company, another toy company that came out with a toy called Action Man, and it was a guy with almost a quizzical, comical look on his face when he wasn't wearing a mask, and it came with different superhero uniforms, so he could be the Batman. He could. They even made an Action Man guy, but that never took off. With one of these little Nazi caps. Maybe that might be why it didn't take off, because it looked a little too much like a Nazi. But he was also they also had he was also the Phantom.
Oh, okay.
As in the goes to Walks Phantom, which is one of the things that I want to get my hands on. I've got too much junk anyway, but that's one last piece of junk that I'd like to cross off my bucket list. Look at the time.
By the way, real quick before we go, Cesar Romero, the original Joker.
There you go. And I'm hoping beyond hope that people that are listening to the program are nodding their head, saying, "Yes, Ray is right. If it's not Adam West, it ain't Batman." 7:33 in the morning. If it ain't Kevin Kerrigan, it ain't news.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 35 minutes past 7 a.m. The Guam legislature yesterday approving a complex revenue measure that will impose a temporary 1 percentage point increase in the business privilege tax immediately upon submission by the governor of a revised fiscal realignment plan that has a minimum of $30 million in budget cuts. After the BPT increase expires on September 30th, a 2% sales tax will take effect. The tax bill also grants the governor broad powers to consolidate or eliminate some GovGuam agencies. The vote yesterday was 8-7. Following the vote, Senator Frank Uggan Jr., who voted against the measure, called the bill a strong dose of bitter medicine that will further burden our people to bail out a government that is operating beyond its means. This is really not a victory, said Senator Louise Muña, who voted for the tax hike. She likened the current fiscal crisis to a typhoon and said, "It seems like it's going to be devastating, but we will get through it." In other news, Guam police have arrested 2 more suspects in connection with robberies last week at the 24-hour Game Time game room and the Jonia Mobile gas station. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tabao says 22-year-old Christopher Brian Cruz Manabusan and 23-year-old Anthony Luis Parteco Camacho, both from Jonia, were arrested on Wednesday, just after midnight back on March 8th. The game room was robbed, followed by the mobile station. More than an hour later, robbed too. Jeremy Dean Duenas of Santa Rita was arrested the day of the robberies after being identified from surveillance video. Court documents say Duenas identified Camacho and Manabusan as his accomplices. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
7:35 is iConnect time. Hop on over to iConnect and receive a free gift and automatic entry to win an iPhone 10 with every new 12-month plan from now until Easter.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Buenas din hafade, Guahusi Claraminglatnya of Malolo, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanotmu, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Would you believe Friday morning, huh? Would you believe Friday morning, 20 minutes away from 8 o'clock? Wow.
TGIF.
And where have we been all week? Well, you know, I've been here all week, and I know that somebody got on a plane in a pretty big hurry. I want to say cut a little bit of a trip short to make sure that he was here in time for the vote as Speaker of the 34th Guam Legislature. B.J. Cruz joins me now. Hello, Speaker.
Hold on a second, Ray.
Okay, holding on. While I'm waiting for him to get up here, a couple of thoughts as we move forward. Revenue enhancements were a chapter of the last fiscal reorganization plan that Eddie Calvo. Good morning.
Oh no, I guess somebody was trying to call me.
Gee, I wonder why. Probably some hot commodity here is to hear from the Speaker of the Legislature the morning after the vote on 248. But I will give you an opportunity to say good morning to the folks that invited you to enjoy their company at Docomo last night.
Oh, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice building that they've got. It's amazing what they were able to do with that old Ben Franklin after all these years, huh?
It really looked very modern.
Yes.
Congratulations to them.
And can you imagine I mean, obviously, you spend a lot of time looking around at the facility, but look around at the people that they've got working there. I mean, there's a lot of, bright, young, energetic people working in that facility, and it looks like he's kind of they gave him a little playground to enjoy while they're working.
Yes, rest areas and play areas.
They had that place, The Zone.
Very modern.
And it was nice. They got a little cafe downstairs because, I guess the place needs a cafe, a coffee shop around there. I'm sorry, I'm just playing around. So I had a chance to sit down and talk with you. We didn't talk too much shop last night with regard to 248. I figured we'd save some of that this morning. So your thoughts on the measure as it evolved into what you flew into?
Well, it's exactly what I flew out from. Everybody stops and looks at it. I remember I was the one that introduced 244 before the governor introduced his 245. And 248 has a 1% increase, like my bill 244. It has a shorter period than what I had in 244. Instead of the 1 year that I had in my bill, it has until the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
It has the 10% reduction of the governor's office, the legislature, and the Office of Finance and Budget, and then it also has a means by which to reorganize the government, and that's what my bill was. I mean, the reduction was not the CWA, which I got 10 hours of, tongue lashing and whiplashing, but the other part that it had was the sales tax, a new revenue enhancement, which is what I was planning with 244. I kept telling everybody, I'm not short-sighted. I really just wanted to stabilize the ship of state, and with the ship of state stable, we could address GMH and DOE separately. And we can try to look at how we can raise other revenue for the government, but do it without being under the gun, as it were. And my staff told me that, you're bad enough as the messenger, but when you use an analogy of something that you have no experience with, you are wrong. And so today the analogy that I will use is that it's like a patient that has a major accident and is brought to the hospital. You have to stabilize the person first, even if that means an induced coma, so that you can make a determination of how strong they are and what they can and cannot do as it relates to what operations you believe need to be done over the next several days after you have the patient stable. But while they're shooting blood in the air and whatever, you can't do a lot of stuff at that point. So. But first, we had to stabilize it, and that was the 1%. And so before I left, while we were discussing the governor's bill 245, I made my amendments to, one, prove that the legislature wanted to lead the way in the governor's office, and I was able to get in the 10% reduction in Bill 245, which Senator Lee was able to get into 248.
Yes.
I made the the amendment in 245 asking for a 1 year, a 1% increase rather than a 2% increase, a 1% increase, and I wanted it till June. My colleagues were unwilling to do that, and nobody wanted. The administration didn't want a short period, and I explained to them I needed to get everybody to realize the urgency, the exigency of the situation, that you don't have the leisurely ability to wait until 2 years after you're gone to work on legislation.
Mm-hmm.
I want us with a short period at the end of June to work on all kinds of other revenue enhancements and some major cutting if we believed that it was necessary or whatever was going to happen. But I didn't want everybody to figure that, we have a lot of time. I wanted it to be short. And
keeps everybody's feet in the fire, keeps them all focused on the game, and the game is at this point to bring in enough money to cover the nut for the government, but at the same time to examine.
They can't just not respond. I mean, it really is unconscionable that it's been almost 3 years since Tina and the legislature got the B&B hot increase. And it's not been implemented.
That's right.
It's nearly unconscionable that Michael was able to get the cigarette tax stamp passed last summer, and they've not written anything. And I just wanted the governor to know that Reverend Tax just isn't responding to us. And they need to do it, and they need to do it in short periods.
Well, they've got until the end of the fiscal year to come back to you with a plan on how they're going to impose this 2% GRT if we decide that that's where we're going to continue to go. There, you talked just a few minutes ago about the Measure 248 providing the means to have reorganization and see some real consolidation or elimination of parts of the government of Guam that might not make sense given our new fiscal reality. But it doesn't impose any of the reorganization. Do you suppose the short money here in the 1% and the short timing of it is sufficient to impose real change in the government?
I really do think that we'll finally get down to that. I mean, but then people have to understand. I've been appropriations chair for the last couple of years, and if you go to the OFP website, you'll see how the government is split up. The money in government is split up. This obsession with people about the legislature and how expensive it is, we account for barely 1%. Barely. This is an $890 million appropriation bill for the budget. The legislature gets just barely 8%. That's barely 1%.
Right.
But some of you, no offense, are obsessed with that.
Well, it's because we like to watch where the spend is going. And, if we got money that is going out the door for things that you can do on Canva website instead of paying somebody $1,500 a month to do, then maybe the cheaper and free alternative is the one.
Yes, I understand. But just understand that we barely take 1%. And
look, the fascination
about this that we're not funding DOE. DOE takes well over 50% of the budget. If you take into account the busing operation for them,
mm-hmm.
it's way over 50% of the budget. And you'll see this the amount that's paid to GFD and GPD and DOC. It's
that pales. I get it. It pales in comparison. We see this every single time we go through through the budget maneuvers.
You look at all the rest, the entire rest of the government after that. The entire rest of the government takes up 26%. Those three with the hospital take up 74% of the budget.
Gonna have to keep John's feet in the fire when it comes to cutting. Are you aware of whether or not the governor has signed the bill? I understand he has it, but we have not yet heard anything from the front office.
It was transmitted to him, and I don't know. He personally acknowledged receipt of the bill. I mean, when it was sent down, I was surprised rather than Central Files. I understand that he personally received a copy of the bill because somebody sent a note of his signature on the acknowledgement page.
Okay, but not a signature that he is formally, as governor of Guam, approved 248.
I've not received word.
Okay.
I'm hoping that he has, so that we can now stop and
stop and then start again, because this is going to pick up when everybody was beating their chest yesterday after the vote. Among the things that I picked up as an observer is everybody says, well, I've got these ideas moving forward. This is just the beginning now, and we're going to come up with some measures here that will cut costs and increase revenue in the government of Guam. Do you have any of those that you will be offering to your colleagues?
Yeah, today and Monday. Their bills already written, and so does press releases. 2 revenue sources, one for GMH and one for DOE.
Are the sources outlined in 248 not sufficient for GMH and DOE?
Well, they are. There's the new sales tax has 1% devoted to GMH and DOE.
Correct.
What I'm trying to do with mine is either one, reduce the sales tax that goes into effect in October from 2 to 1, or if it's a BPT that is finally done, then whatever it is, 2 to 1. I mean, I just wanted to get down to 1%, or if a way we can find it that there is no need for any additional taxes. Because a lot of people have been talking a lot about taxes and going on and on and on about GMH. I mean, property taxes and other taxes that can and should be addressed.
Sure. So if we don't need all of that, then maybe there are things that we can do to convert the conversation out of a 2% sales tax to a 1% sales tax, or convert the same back into a BPT and try to keep it between 4 and 5. Okay, I'm crazy about that idea, plus the other revenue enhancement ideas that are on page 147 of the governor's original proposal that included revenue enhancements, and among them legalizing the use and sale of recreational marijuana, implementation of a departure and resort fee, automated traffic light ticketing system, and a partridge in a pear tree. So we'll see where those are all going to end up.
Okay.
I got you. Any other messages you wanted to pass along to listeners while I got you on the phone?
No.
Nah, we're good. All right, I'll be looking forward to seeing the legislation that you're going to be offering on top of other legislation that is coming out of the body here in the next 24 hours. Thanks, Speaker. I'll see you pretty soon.
Okay.
Speaker B.J. Cruz, and that's the long and short of it. Is 248, yeah, it's going to get his support because it looks a whole lot like his bill that he had offered before that was swatted away like so many flies over the Fiesta table. But as it turns out, that's where the body actually ended up, and so that's why he's got his support on that. And some people might say, well, that's going to cost him the election. He's not running. He's out of the game right now. And the other word is that he knows that the governor has received the bill, but we don't know if the governor has yet taken any action on it. He's got some time to mull over it. The initial press release coming out of the governor's office, though, yesterday indicated that he seemed to be pleased with it. At least we've got, quote, a roadmap to move forward with.
Right.
And so let's move forward on that then. Let's move forward. Let's take a look at some of the ideas that he had proposed in the revenue enhancements. And it's been a while since we've talked about this. Frankly, this was 2 or 3 dramas ago over at the legislature, but it's been a while since we've looked at his ideas and his suggestions over at the legislature to try to bring in a few more bucks here, increasing the BPT, implementation of a sales tax, increasing the hotel occupancy tax, increasing the alcohol and tobacco taxes. Wait, there's more. But this is a lady I've been wanting to talk to for a long, long time. Say hello to Benita Menglotnya. Benita Manzanita, how you doing there?
Hi, Ray. Well, congratulations on the opening of your radio show. Because, you know, we haven't talked since then.
Oh my God, it's been so long since you and I have had a chance to chew the fat, and I imagine that today, just based on what happened at the legislature yesterday. I mean, you can go through all of the drama if you want to, and replay all of that. But at the end of it, Bill 248 provides for, and let me just see if I can call up the right language here. It provides for funds from this 2% sales tax that we'll see at the beginning of the new fiscal year to be set aside and placed in the Guam Memorial Hospital Authority. What's the thing going to be called?
It's the GMH Stabilization Fund. I think that's what was written on the bill.
Yeah, the GMH, Stabilization Fund. I'm looking for the exact language in the...
It's a dedicated funding source which we have been pursuing, you know, so GMH can better plan, you know, what needs to be purchased, and you know, just to address the operational shortfall, the perennial operational shortfall that GMH has been enduring for years.
What is your understanding of the number? I think it was 0.75% of.
Of the 1%.
What does that turn into when we bring that out to dollars?
Well, I mean, you know, we're not sure what that amount will bring in. I guess there you know, if there are exemptions to that law, but from what I've heard, that for 1 year it will bring in about $120 million for the 2%. So it would be 0.75 of the 1%.
So if 30 million, maybe $23 million additional.
Yeah, close. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
but it's something close, and you know, it's something that we can definitely use to plan for fiscal year 19. Our challenge is you know, FY18, where we received $9.5 million. I mean, we requested for $36 million, and we're only getting $9.5. And you know, and we're handling DOC, and that's a $3 million operation.
Well, I've been on your side on that one. I'm sure you've heard me say many times that's a bill that's got to get paid. We cannot be providing free services for the clients over at the Department of Corrections. Somebody gets sick up there, and it's bad enough they got to go to GMH. Somebody's got to pay the bill.
And that doesn't take into consideration those inpatient services that we provide. The $3 million is just for the clinic services, which is, you know, we have 2 clinics, one in Agana, one in Manila.
I got it. So we figure another $20 million or so. That should help bridge the chronic shortfall for Guam Memorial Hospital from folks that aren't paying. And
we were hoping for 30, and but you know, we'll take what we can get, and then that still does not address the CIP needs that the hospital has deferred for years. We have only received like $47 million in CIP since the 90s, and that's not enough to take care of all the CIP needs of the hospital. We have equipment. We have a generator that has, you know, it's years over its useful life, and you know, we call it Old Faithful because the staff, they're really, really good at maintaining and making it work, and you know, it's still kicking, but we don't know when it's going to shut down. And you know, we have the electrical distribution panel. The hospital could go in the dark anytime because that one is old. So there's a lot of, you know, priority needs at the hospital.
Well, if you get everything stable, maybe we can go out. You get some stability in the numbers here, and maybe an opportunity working with Jay and Mon over at GATA to maybe go and support some kind of bond measure that would provide for your CIP needs down the road. You can't do it on cash flow, so you might need to borrow.
Yeah, so at least, we have this dedicated funding source for the hospital. Maybe in the future, that could be a source of funding. I mean, that can service can be provided for debt service.
I got you.
The only thing with the sales tax is in the bond, with the bond rating agencies. They look at the collection, the history of whatever taxes.
Yeah, but and that's been kind of disastrous for everybody. I got to break away. I've got the news coming up. I'll talk again to you pretty soon now that we know where to find you. And then you call in because now you know where to find me, okay?
Okay, I will.
Thanks, Benita. I'll talk to you later. 8 a.m., we are KUSG Hagåtña headquarters for Fox News right now.
This is a Fox News alert. A search and rescue operation underway. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A bridge still under construction connecting Florida International University and the town of Sweetwater collapses onto the 8-lane highway below. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, this bridge on the FIU campus has only been in place 5 days, but was not expected to open until next year. Specific numbers of dead and injured are not being released at this point. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Division Chief Paul Estopinian says early on it looked like a tragic scene.
At approximately 1:30 this afternoon, we received a call for a collapsed bridge. Our units responded to find 8 trapped vehicles under the bridge.
Florida Governor Rick Scott is set to be briefed on where the search and rescue effort stands now. The White House also watching this development, Lisa.
Gernal, the National Transportation Safety Board sending investigators to the scene. Florida Democrat Senator Bill Nelson.
We've been through enough tragedies. And here we go again. The irony of this is a bridge that is built for safety to get people across 8-lane highway.
Florida Governor Rick Scott also on his way. A job-related dispute led to the shooting last night at a hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. Police say 31-year-old Travis Coleman shot 2 people before killing himself. White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders responding after multiple news outlets reported Special Counsel Robert Mueller has subpoenaed documents from the Trump Organization.
We've seen just this week the House Intelligence Committee come out and say that they thought there was no collusion. We're going to continue to cooperate with the Special Counsel, and we look forward to them concluding soon.
While Republicans on the committee insist the investigation's over, Democrats say they will keep digging. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Listen, my life changed because someone was there to get me to use drugs. No one can understand. Whether or not they've struggled with addiction themselves, people seem to think that having someone who will listen is gonna help make it better. I'm realizing that I need help.
I'm listening.
I need help. I'm realizing that I think that having someone who will listen is going to help make it better. Whether or not they've struggled with addiction themselves, people seem to understand. No one can get me to use drugs. My life changed because someone was there to listen.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
New developments in the upcoming sexual assault retrial of Bill Cosby. Fox's Steve Rappaport has this live.
Lisa, jurors heard from only one other accuser in Cosby's first trial, which ended in a hung jury. This time, the judge will allow 5 additional women to testify against the 80-year-old entertainer. Prosecutors wanted to call about 20 witnesses to prove a pattern of Cosby drugging and attacking women for decades. The defense objected, arguing prosecutors are clinging to ancient allegations to bolster a weak case. Cosby is accused of drugging and assaulting a woman at his home in in 2004. In a separate case, a defamation suit against Cosby can go forward after the California Supreme Court rejected his appeal. Lisa?
Steve, a grand jury indicting 4 people in the death of a Louisiana State University student whose blood alcohol content was more than 6 times the legal limit. The indictment coming 6 months after the death of 18-year-old Maxwell Groover. Phi Delta Theta members found him lying on a couch at the fraternity house. The city of Chicago strikes a deal with American Airlines over a dispute that threatened a multi-billion-dollar expansion plan.
Fort Worth-based American Airlines had claimed that Chicago's recently announced $8.5 billion O'Hare expansion included a secret deal to award more gates to Chicago-based United, giving the airline an unfair advantage. The city has now reportedly agreed to resolve the dispute by speeding up construction on 3 common-use gates that would be used by any airline, including American. The transformed state-of-the-art global terminal with dozens of new gates and concourses is expected to service 100 million passengers here in Chicago by 2026. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The former president of ESPN says he resigned from the sports network after an extortion plot by someone who sold him cocaine. John Skipper told The Hollywood Reporter that the drug seller, whom he did not name, tried to extort him in December. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Triple J says yes. 0 down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
How do you turn every day into cash back? With the Bank of Guam Visa credit card, cash back just got better. Get 1.5% cash back every month with every purchase. Every pick-me-up, every filler-up, every Sunday dinner, every 4-wheel spinner. Whatever comes to mind, even every stroll in the sweet sunshine. Everything your heart desires turns into 1.5% cash back every month. The Bank of Guam Visa credit card, the everyday card. Apply today. Call, click, or visit. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
Tuna, or indulge in the mouth-watering greatness of our seafood sensation, or try our tasty Veggie Max, a delicious vegetarian patty free of artificial colors and flavors. All our subs are served on freshly baked bread paired with vegetables cut fresh daily in restaurants and sauces that are sure to excite your taste buds. Visit any of our convenient locations today at Subway. Fresh is what we do.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam lawmakers yesterday passing a complex revenue measure that the governor said he would sign into law. Bill 248 calls for 2 separate tax increases, a temporary 1 percentage point increase in the business privilege tax that expires on September 30th, followed by a 2% sales tax that has no expiration date. The bill requires the governor to submit a revised fiscal realignment plan that includes no less than $30 million in budget cuts. It also provides the governor with broad powers to consolidate or eliminate various GovGuam agencies. The bill passed on a vote of 8-7. After the vote, Senator Dennis Rodriguez, who voted against the tax bill, said he tried tirelessly to look at alternatives that wouldn't raise taxes on residents. Unfortunately, he said, those fell on deaf ears. I'm sure my colleagues will agree that this has been very difficult, said Senator Fernando Esteves, but it proves the point of what a deliberative body is supposed to do. Senator Esteves voted for the tax increase. The governor's communications director, Oya Nirarikral, said that the governor would sign the bill as soon as he gets it. No word yet on whether he has, nor is there any word on whether the 90-day furlough notice and public park closures would be rescinded. Nor is it clear that the measure will allow the public safety facilities that were closed to reopen. In a release yesterday, the governor said, we now have a roadmap that'll help us bridge the $67 million shortfall. In other news, 4 people were taken into custody yesterday afternoon during a drug raid in the Harmon Industrial Park. Members of the Mondaña Drug Task Force were joined by SWAT team and K-9 unit officers. They raided a second-floor unit at the Sabana condos. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau confirmed police took 2 women and 1 man into custody during the raid. Another man was arrested about an hour before the raid occurred. He was seen in handcuffs, bleeding from his head. SWAT officers arrested him after he reportedly jumped from the balcony of one of the condos. Police have not released the names of the suspects or the charges against them or what items were seized during the raid. We'll have more news after this.
Triple J says yes. 0 down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J. Customers first.
Our island is at a crossroads. We need leaders willing to make the tough decisions to guide us through the roughest waters. The Gutierrez-Bordallo team understands that you cannot cut primary government services like education. This is bad for our families. Cutting 1/3 of unclassified political hires would give our public schools the funds they need for full operations. Gutierrez-Bordallo will lead by example and do what is right for Guam. Please vote August 25th, Gutierrez-Bordallo.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
It is 11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. February tourism numbers exceeding the visitor count in February of last year by about 2%. Governor Calvo called the latest numbers a sign that Guam's economy remains strong. He made the comments while speaking to student leaders yesterday afternoon ahead of a vote on the tax bill. He told the students that he'll do everything he can to ensure that the budget cuts are as painless as possible and that they don't affect education. The fate of the Toys R Us store on Guam is uncertain after news yesterday spread across the mainland that all of the retailer's 800 U.S. toy stores will be closing. The Guam Toys R Us is located in the Micronesia Mall. We called them, and they referred the Daily Post questions to the corporate office back on the mainland. But several phone calls to the numbers that they provided went directly to voicemail, and emailed questions generated an auto reply. The retailer filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization last year. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It's in the pile here somewhere. I can make it up again if I need to. Partly cloudy skies in the forecast. I got 50 pieces of paper in here.
It's the ditto forecast.
Yeah, it doesn't change. There's no storm in the area for anybody to worry about. The 2 things that you need to remember is don't throw any lit cigarettes or flamethrowers out the car window because there's a fire watch for the Savannah lands. In fact, I was in some of the Savannah lands just the other day, and a piece of roadway that is normally green and lush that I drive through to get to my spot out there.
Not anymore.
It's black. The thing, it's charcoal out there. So there's a lot of grass fires. And my guess is is the fire department came out and watched it go. As long as it ain't going to the houses out there, then just let it go. Let it go. If you're on the eastern side of the island, be very careful when you get into the water. If you're on a boat, be aware that there's some hazardous surf out there. If you're going swimming, then get your head examined. There should not be any swimming on that side of the island for a few days as the wind is whipping up the wave action. And even if you think you're a strong swimmer, I've been swimming here since I was a little boy. Famous last words. Be very careful. It's 8:13. That's news and weather together on The Point.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
This portion of the program is brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like yours for over 40 years. King's Restaurant's always open, and they're always local.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J. Customers first.
8:13, and the program brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
Are you waiting too long for a home loan decision? Are you looking for a bank that understands your needs and can close your loan quickly at today's super low rates? Then come no further than Bank Pacific. Our home loan specialists are friends and neighbors from your community, and our decisions are made right here in Hagåtña. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show.
Yes. And as usual about this time, quarter after 8 o'clock in the morning, we find out what's going on in the world of sports. And now joining me with some world of sports stuff is the Blake Watson. Good morning, Blake. Good morning. Where's the sound? Where's the... Oh, you were waiting for me to be dramatic.
Is it? Is there any other way? It's a little remixed, isn't it? Is that a new version? It's a little new. I'm freshening things up a bit. I'm freshening up around the house. Well, let you know. I noticed. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I like where you're headed.
Should I start again?
Is what I meant to say.
Should I start again? You want me to start again with the dramatic?
Take 2. It's okay.
It's all right?
It's your show.
You're not going to feel bad, right?
No. I'm okay. I'm all right.
He's looking everywhere, wanting to get a new bed, and you're going to be dramatic, and now we're just going to play it in the background. Little inside radio stuff here. Isn't that fun, kids? All right. No, I want you. No, I want you to start it again. I want you to start it again.
Take 2 in 3, 2,
start
1.
Sound like that scene in Godfather. Right. No, you eat it. Eat it. 8:17 now. Sports on the Point with Blake Watson.
All right. That was fun.
Disaster.
Yeah.
This is great. All right, 8:17, but it is time for sports. All right, so what do you got for me today, Blake?
First of all, happy birthday to my other half, my better half. She's a teacher down at JP Torres, so happy birthday to Julie.
Right?
Yeah, it's her birthday today on Stone Cold Steve Austin Day, 3/16.
What'd you get her?
Well, I haven't given it to her yet, so I can't tell you. She's a listener. She's listening.
Did you wake up in the morning? Did you nudge her in the morning and say, honey, I'm going to work. Happy birthday.
Well,
she
was up before me, getting ready and getting the baby ready. She's got to drive all the way down to Santa Rita.
You haven't gotten it yet.
No.
You haven't.
She gave me a present. She gave me a present on her birthday. I got to sleep in. She got baby ready.
You're going to go at 10:01
and go get presents. Yeah. Well, the thing is,
radio
real quick. Now, this is terrible, but it's good. But there's method to my madness. So my mom gave me a present for my birthday back in August.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna regift it and give it to my other half for her birthday today because she wanted one. And now here's the reason. Hear me out.
Pass. What is this?
Hear me out. I'm gonna get her own. But it's going to be like a symbol. I'm going to wrap mine and give it to her and be like, hey, yours is in the mail. It's on its way from Amazon. But just so I can actually have physically something to give you, here's what I got for you. So you'll have your own when it gets here in 7 to 10 business days.
Okay. 8:18.
Yeah. That's why. It's more of a symbol. It's like, this isn't yours, but you are getting this exact thing.
Right.
Whenever it arrives in the mail. It's already been ordered. So it's already been ordered and paid for.
Well, you wouldn't even have to do that. So what you do is you just print out a copy of whatever the Amazon page looks like, and you give that to her with the card. You did get a card.
I did get a card.
There you
I got a card, and I actually got a couple gifts. So that was just one of the gifts. So the other one I'm going to give her today. It's not in the mail.
Learned everything about relationships from me and all of his other radio and broadcast brothers that have managed to screw it up for years. All right, so
what is it about radio people and
we're just
relationships?
We're bad. It's we spend so much time thinking about our relationships with the listeners that we don't necessarily protect the important ones at home. I'm just saying.
That's true.
So what do you got for sports?
I do. I got big news. FD Friars senior DeAndre Cruz has made an announcement. He will choose San Jose State University. The acceptance letter he received last week after applying in December helped solidify his decision. So he will be in San Jose for the fall as a preferred walk-on, a PWO, and that is because after meeting with head coach Brent Brennan, not sure if he's related to the Brennans in Chalampago at all, but San Jose's head coach Brent Brennan was told that the program wanted Cruz to attend. The issue was that they had already handed out the maximum number of scholarships, but the coach offered DeAndre the opportunity of a PWO, which was that preferred walk-on. So he will get a chance to go flex his skills in San Jose State's football program come the fall. So shout out to DeAndre Cruz, and he is a standout athlete, has been for many seasons up at FD. So good for him, good for his family. Shout out to the Cruz family down south and DeAndre and all his siblings and his mom and everybody. Congratulations!
Oh yeah,
because he's definitely been putting in the work for the past few seasons. Also a standout at basketball, standout at track as well, but it looks like football is the path he's going to choose collegiately.
There's also Special Olympics going on this weekend. I know you got information on that. You have intel.
I got the same one. It's the 42nd annual track and field event. It's going to happen as it has for the past couple years up at Ukadu High School. They got a nice track and field up there. The gate's going to be open to the public 5:30 a.m. Again, this is tomorrow. Events lined up for the athletes include running and standing, long jump, softball throw, shot put, 50 and 100-meter walk and run events, 10 and 25-meter assisted walk, 10, 25, and 50-meter wheelchair races, along with the wheelchair slalom, which is always cool to watch, and the opening ceremony set for 8 a.m. So showtime, 5:30, opening ceremonies at 8 a.m., and again, the parade of athletes will start at 7:30, just before. So they want to make sure do event coordinators.
It's always good to have a crowd there. Always good to have a crowd.
Event coordinators want to make sure you get there early because the parade of athletes at 7:30 a.m. So make sure everybody's there and has their credentials and their bibs ready, and it's going to be a good time. It always is a lot of fun up there. So shout out to the Special Olympics, and again, 42nd annual.
So I'm not really good at following up on sports and sports stories, but I did have an opportunity. I ran into Phil Santos from Matson and golfer and member of the chamber. So I asked him, I said, how was the chamber golf tournament? He says, it was okay. And I said, how did you do? He says, our team came in 8th place. I said, really? He says, yeah, but I won the airplane tickets. So congratulations to Phil. Very nice. And for winning the airplane ride at the Chambers Golf Tournament. And if you're thinking there's another golf tournament you need to be involved in, find Marissa Borja over at the Deuce It, because they've got one coming up for their big corporate charity and their big corporate outreach event. That's just in just a little bit. Marissa will have details for you when you call her at what's the number there? 646 Deuce It, right?
I believe so.
Whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, if you got a bracket, first upset, we have an upset. The Ramblers were one of the popular upset picks for the win, and they win over Miami, number 11. I don't know where they're from, LCHI, but they're the Ramblers. 64, they beat the University of Miami Hurricanes, who were ranked number 6, 64 to 62. So there's a first upset in the bracket.
Any thoughts on free agency in the NFL?
Yeah.
You know, we're closing out the 3 days, first 3 days. And I think right now, Sherman going to San Fran.
I was just about to say, if you're a lot of people here on Guam have, we got a lot of fandom here for those two teams. For the Raiders, who got a big free agent signing because they signed Jordy Nelson from the Packers, and like you just said, the Niners, who have been struggling the last couple seasons, they got their quarterback in order.
That's right.
And now they've got one of the best defensive corners in the game in Richard Sherman.
Yeah, and I think another huge pickup. We got some Denver fans here. They picked up Case Keenum.
Did they finally? I saw that they were trying to trade for Simeon, and maybe they did.
I'm not sure exactly what it all, but I saw the tweet by Elway, and so that they I really do like Keenum. He played University of Houston, set all kinds of records playing for them. Couldn't really work it out in the Texans program, but went some other places. Had a great year last year in Minnesota,
and he was the backup, third string.
Right,
he was actually third string quarterback, and he almost got him to the Super Bowl.
He may very well be Denver's at least short to medium term answer quarterback. We'll see if he can reciprocate that level of success.
Okay, a couple of sport notes before we get out of the deep Texas football thing. Is the president, no, not current president, former president, who the media still has a big fascination for. It's a big love affair with Barack Obama. His March Madness picks are the highly anticipated annual event among sports fans, so-called. And so the former president revealed his bracket on Twitter on Tuesday. In the Final Four, Virginia, Michigan State, North Carolina, and Villanova. Anybody surprised?
Nope.
Is that your Final Four as well?
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically everybody's Final Four. And with the Spartans beating out the Volunteers in the final, are you ready to make that call?
Spartans beating out the Volunteers in the final. You know what? I don't know if Tennessee gets there. I don't know if Barack's right. Villanova's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, they've been on a roll for about 3 years.
Yeah,
really
and they won in dramatic fashion. I don't know if that was last season or the one before that where they hit the buzzer beater to beat.
I want to say it was the year before last.
That was where they traded.
Could be wrong.
That was where. So North Carolina was playing. Michael Jordan was in the stands, and they hit Ray. I don't know if you. So let me back it up real quick, Ray. So this is I think 2 tournaments ago. It was UNC North Carolina taking on Villanova. Michael Jordan, who of course is an alumni of North Carolina, was in the stands. There was like 4 seconds left. North Carolina hit like a 3-pointer, to go to put them up by 1 with 3 seconds left. Game over, right? No, Villanova inbounded the ball, throws it all the way down the court. They make an easy layup, and they win by 2. And Michael Jordan is sad again.
Yeah, it was just
very dramatic. You can skip the whole
right
tournament. The whole tournament basically boiled down to 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm kind of already on to the next thing here. Just
it's March. We don't have a lot going on in sports.
No.
Baseball starts in a week.
Yep, hockey playoffs are looming.
I gotta do some research on this. There's an outfit called Wallet Hub, and they have released a report that says that this place is the fattest city in the U.S.
I would say Chicago.
I would say Houston.
You're both wrong. Little Rock, Arkansas.
Really?
That's what it says. Is the fattest city in the U.S. And residents there are up in arms. Well, they'd get up in arms if they could, but that's the deal. Anyways, I kind of want to look at this to find out how they are defining the Little Rock, Arkansas metro area specifically as the fattest city in the U.S.
You would think it would be more of a food city, like a San Francisco or New York or Chicago.
I don't want to say too much, but sometimes I look around here and I wonder maybe they just didn't include the territories in some of this because there's some real gordos around here, if you know what I mean. But I'm looking to see if there's any details on this that would outline why they did that or where they went to gather the data and see how that compares with our own public health data. Because we haven't won any cool awards lately. No. So I'm thinking, let's see, we rip this thing away from Little Rock, Arkansas.
I think we should.
That's right. We don't want that one.
What's the old saying? Any press is good press.
Right. And apparently the governor has just ignored my request to go to the White House and suggest to President Donald Trump that we have the summit with Kim Little Kim here on Guam.
Oh, Rocket Man.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw this has got nothing to do. I'm outside of my realm here, a little bit above my pay grade here. But did I see that Donald Trump was photographed with either a pocket square with green fringe on it or actual parsley in his pocket? I saw that, right? Kevin, you're laughing. Did you see
I'm
that?
laughing because I wonder why you would notice that.
No, it was. I saw it on the internet.
Pocket square.
I mean, it looks like he's got like kale and like some leafy green vegetables hanging out of his front pocket. Now it could just be a pocket square with some with some tassels on it or whatever. But it did look like he was trying to get a little healthier.
That's the
snack.
secret. That's the secret to his power. Popeye had spinach. He's got kale. You keep it right there in your pocket, and when nobody's looking, you just kind of reach down and bite into
I
it.
mean, I know this is here. Just real quick.
You got it.
Yeah, I got the picture right there. I mean, this is a legit it's GQ. Yeah, and you see the picture.
That's Sprouts.
Yeah, it looks like Sprouts, right?
Put that on. Is that already on the Star 101 website?
I will.
Stick that up there just so everybody can see it. Well, the last thing before we go, a reminder: Willie Mann's house in Mai 4 o'clock until whenever on Sunday for the University of Guam Tritons football reunion. If you're a coach, you're a player, a cheerleader, a fan from the 70s, somebody that was stalking the players, then. Because I know what happened. I know it happened.
They have those boosters who decorate the locker room before the games.
Yeah. Just be at Willie's house about 4 o'clock. If you want to know what to bring, find Cowboy LG. I've got his number, and so message me, Ray Gibson at raygibsonshow@gmail.com. I'll be happy to share Cowboy's information with you so that you're not the one that shows up at this party with a pocket full of kale.
Yeah, don't do that.
Right? Okay, all right. That's Blake Watson. He just did sports on The Point. And I'll be right back, and there's headlines and plenty more stuff coming up.
Chili's has the seafood you crave, the flavors you love, at a great price with our 3 for Me Lent menu. For just $15, you can get a beverage, fresh salad, and a Lent-friendly entree. First, choose from a refreshing Coca-Cola, iced tea, or Heineken on draft. Then enjoy a fresh house salad right before you indulge in your choice of a mouth-watering entree, like our spicy shrimp tacos, savory Cajun pasta with shrimp, or our flavorful grilled ancho salmon. Chili's 3 for Me Lent menu for just $15. Available for a limited time. Chili's. More life happens here.
Hafa-adai, my name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the Committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
Last look at traffic for now, I guess. If anything comes up, I'll bring it back and tell you all about it. But it looks like you're starting to see some slowing down in the Mangilao area at Salampago, in the Mangilao area between 4 and the intersection of 810 and 16, a little bit closer to the university and the Payless markets, I think, is where you're going to see some of that. Southbound on Barragata on Route 8, after you're just before you get to 810 and 16. You might be seeing some slowdowns. I want to say that correctly. Southbound from 810 and 16 slowing down. Traffic building a little heavier if you're heading towards the intersection of 810 and 16. If you're heading northbound. Agana traffic on Route 4, you might see some slowing down coming out of Sinahanya for sure. You're going to see some slowdowns right around just before you get to the hill. You might expect to tap on the brakes a couple of times. And Route 10 Alpha in front of the Guam International Airport. That one is looking okay right now, but I think in a few minutes it will busy up because it looks like there's a buildup of traffic on Tidzin. It must be something worth looking at on the view. Maybe some construction through there. I thought we might see a little bit more construction on Route 16 headed southbound. Traffic slowing down before you get to the intersection over at the it's the higher part of the underpass, if you will. That right-hand lane. There was somebody setting up cones there earlier today, and I think that's still affecting traffic. So expect some delays through there. Build in a couple extra minutes. It's 8:31. That's traffic headlines with Kevin next.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545. Upper Tuon 647-5626 or in Dedito 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
We have those moments in our lives that happen unpredictably. The unexpected instances that we did not really need. Now you can count on us to stay well, Papa to live well, Papa to stay well, making sure you stay well. Oh, I'll lift you up when times are low. I'll see how far we'll go, and stay well.
Stay Well Insurance. See how far we'll go.
All right, top of the list is, what did I say it was? Little Rock, Arkansas. Bottom of the list, as you might imagine, some of the healthier places to live include Seattle-Tacoma at number 97. 96 is Colorado Springs. 98 is Salt Lake City, Utah. Honolulu, Hawaii comes in at number 99. And Portland, Vancouver, Hillsboro, Oregon, and Washington at 100, because all the people that live in those towns, all they eat is seeds. It's just nuts and seeds. That's all they eat in those towns. It's all the hippie food and that kind of thing. So that's where you'll find among the healthiest, but probably most uptight people that you've ever met in your life. It's 8:34 in the morning, and time for his last look at headlines. Kevin Kerrigan, now from the Guam Daily Post.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time at the point is 34 minutes past 8 a.m. 4 people taken into custody yesterday afternoon during a drug raid in the Harmon Industrial Park. Members of the Mandanya Drug Task Force were joined by the SWAT team and the K-9 unit. They raided a second-floor unit at the Sabana Condos. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tabao confirming police have taken 2 women and 1 man into custody. Another man was arrested about an hour before the raid happened. He was seen in handcuffs, bleeding from his head. SWAT officers arrested him after he reportedly jumped from the balcony of one of the condos. Police have not released the names of the suspects or the charges against them or what items were found during the raid. A suspicious package prompted a multi-agency response at the South Pacific Petroleum Corporation office in Upper Tumon yesterday. The offices of Homeland Security and Civil Defense announced that a suspicious package was reported at the office building just before noon. The second floor of the building was evacuated. It took 5 hours before the all-clear was given. There's been no official word yet about the contents or origins of that suspicious package, other than from the fire department, who said that a suspicious envelope was delivered to the office building yesterday morning. Guam police have arrested 2 more suspects in connection with robberies last week at the 24-hour Game Time game room and the Jonia Mobile gas station. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tabao says 22-year-old Christopher Brian Cruz Manabusan and 23-year-old Anthony Luis Parteco Camacho, both from Jonia, were arrested on Wednesday. 23-year-old Jeremy Dean Duenas was arrested earlier after being identified from surveillance video. Court documents say Duenas identified Camacho and Manabusan as his alleged accomplices. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
And the time is 8:35. We call that iConnect time around here. And what's the big deal with iConnect? They've got push-to-talk. They've got push-to-talk. Mobile and internet plans that you are going to love.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was supposed to be. I'm sorry, just looking over a couple of very interesting websites that I'm definitely going to be sharing with you. It's time for fish fans to celebrate the return of Wendy's cod fillet sandwiches. Wendy's with their wild-caught North Pacific cod breaded with panko crumbs. Oh, wait a second. I'm not supposed to be reading a Wendy's ad, am I?
Sure, you can read whatever you want, man.
You know, come to think of it, let's see. Better not read another one for a food shop. Maybe I'll do this one here from my friends over at Security Title, providing solutions for complex real estate transactions.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Got to-do lists overflowing and not getting all of it done? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, I give the lowdown on a system to keep you up to speed on all of that.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Subway's got your fresh choices for Lent. Sink your teeth into the classic tuna or indulge in the mouthwatering greatness of our seafood sensation, or try the tasty Veggie Max, a delicious vegetarian patty free of artificial colors and lots of flavors. Visit any of our convenient locations today at Subway. Fresh, it's what they do.
At GTA, we believe you deserve better than home internet with hidden data fees. That's why all our internet plans are unlimited, because streaming your favorite shows while cooking dinner shouldn't cause indigestion when the internet bill comes. So the choice is yours. Bill shock with the other guys, or a life unlimited with GTA. Say goodbye to hidden data fees and make the switch today. GTA, your island, your network.
Special things only come around once a year, and it's time for fish fans to celebrate the return of Wendy's Cod Fillet Sandwich. Wendy's uses the gold standard for fried fish, wild-caught Northern Pacific cod, breaded with panko crumbs to a light crisp. Add a new creamy dill tartar sauce and crisp pickles, and you've got the fish sandwich many say is the best of the bunch. Get yours today at Wendy's, located in Tamoney, Barragata, Agana, Dededo, and Naval Base. Wendy's Cod Fillet. Now that's better.
Is it the last look at traffic? Yeah, and it doesn't look all that different from the way it looked just a few minutes ago. Route 3 to Marine Corps Drive southbound, you're going to be seeing some slowing down, and traffic continuing to build on Marine Corps Drive up Dededo Way towards Upper Tumon and Tamoney. But once you get through here, you're going to be in decent shape. Still seeing a little bit of a snag. Did that go away yet? No, on the overpass side of the over-underpass, the high road, if you will, that leads you to the intersection at Ocean Vista and Macheche. A little bit closer to 810 and 16, a little bit of traffic building from about where Barragata Heights is towards the intersection. And like I said, coming out of Tiedzin, going towards the old airport, you might see a significant increase in traffic down there. Sinahanya is continuing to show signs of congestion, as are both directions of Route 4 once you get into the capital city. It's 8:40. That's traffic on the point.
We have those moments in our lives that happen unpredictably. The unexpected instances that we did not really need. Now you can count on us to stay well, Papa to live well, Papa to stay well, making sure you stay well. Oh, I'll lift you up when times are low. I'll see how far we'll go and stay well.
Stay Well Insurance. See how far we'll go.
Are you a veteran or on active duty looking for a home loan and VA eligible? Then Bank Pacific stores are open to you, where we are a VA-approved preferred lender. That simply means we can give you faster credit approvals and loan closing. And with today's super low rates, you just can't go wrong. Bank Pacific's My VA Loan, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
Yeah, buddy! Jamming into the weekend, why don't we? All right, groovy. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. Still some more Fox News that's going to be coming up. And if I've been distracted in the last couple of minutes, I apologize. I'm normally laser focused on making sure that the important things get through the microphone, get through the technology to where you are. But frankly, end of the day, I'm still the little kid that couldn't keep still in Sister Emily's class at Cathedral Grade School. There's something shiny in front of me, and it distracts me like you wouldn't believe. People know how fond I am of social media for all of the reasons that I've explained 100 times. It's a great way to maintain a conversation while I'm on the air, and even after I'm done with the program. I can still get involved in conversations with listeners and people just like you, and I'm like the easiest guy to get a hold of on Facebook and in the general media, right? So just raygibsonshow@gmail.com if you want to send me something. There you can message me on Facebook, which is another preferred method. And I just found out this morning that you can message me on Instagram as well. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, and frankly, I may have to kill my Instagram subscription then, because frankly, I can't handle another messaging channel. Between WhatsApp and Viber and Facebook and everything else, you just go, wow. You ever have that nagging suspicion that you've forgotten something? And then you start looking through your messages and your pile of electronic communications, and you can't find it until you realize, yeah, it was a message that somebody sent me on Viber, which I never, ever use. Although I might use it this weekend. Maybe spend a little bit of time talking about why. But on Facebook this morning, I got sent a link to, I want to say, a new Facebook page. But I don't know how long it's been around. They've been around long enough to really, really take aim at a number of Republican senators and a Republican governor and lieutenant governor, and give them a ration of grief here. And as you can imagine, with the passage of Bill 248, they've got some new ammunition. The Facebook page is Guam Republicans Irritated by Political Exploitation. First letters, Guam Republicans irritated by political exploitation, and that turns into gripe. Start looking around for it. Get back to me with your comments. I'm unfortunately without the means to be able to go cry on somebody's shoulders when I don't get things my way. Mom's gone, Pop's in the States, right? So when I jump up and down and get to be a loudmouth on the radio saying, no, bust the taxes, and then 248 comes along and the legislature votes and says, yes, we're going to taxes, I need somebody to say, there, Ray, it'll be all right. Uncle Robert will make it better. And so Uncle Robert's on the line now. Hey, Uncle Robert.
Hi. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning. Yeah. So I'm coming to you for solace as my dear Uncle Robert here to tell me how I should feel about the passage of Bill 248 over at the legislature.
Well, just in kind of paying attention to the discussion, it really strikes me as odd that the Democrats were asking for cuts to the government and the Republicans were pushing tax increases. It's like the greatest reversal of patterns of behavior I've seen in a long time.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that something? You've got I was going to almost said Ben Bangalian, Benjamin Cruz, BJ Cruz, who's advocating is the one that sounds like the old fiscal Republican, the fiscal conservative there.
Right. Well, but but of course, the solution is a little bit of both, maybe, and depending on your point of view, you're leaning one way or the other. Of course, this will it's a very interesting process, and at some point, it's also dispiriting. It's like, wow, do we really have to go through this in order to get to where we're at? And so we don't really know where we're at until these things go into effect. I'm assuming that people are going. Obviously, people are going to take a hit. People are going to hurt and feel the squeeze by this. Maybe that squeeze will be assuaged, or maybe we'll feel better about it because it's saving the government. But, some people say, why are we saving the government?
Well, hey, listen, I'm the guy that says GovGuam is not too big to fail. And obviously it can't go away. But there are obviously, and because you see the game from where you are, that there are lots and lots of places that maybe we could spend less here. Maybe we make this less of a priority so that it enhances the priority positions that we do have to pay attention to, like public health and public safety and, of course, education.
Yeah, but here's the in my point of view, and having worked in government and out of government and working in the federal government, the greatest threat is the sense of aggrandizement. People love to aggrandize, So the inside government agencies. You create the sense that the only way you're valued is to continue to grow. And so, the measure of success is how many more positions you got, how much more money you get to spend. And that affects everybody. And it affects all government agencies, and it affects all government entities. And so that one way or another, that has to be dealt with. And of course, it can only be dealt with real leadership. But that's really the sense of that. So almost every there isn't a single government activity that is occurring right now that can't be adequately justified.
Yeah, right.
That's just it's true. I mean, but the point is. Well,
I think it depends on where your filter starts here, though. When you have to balance, I mean, it's okay to justify things. It's easier to justify things when you got plenty of money. If you don't have plenty of money, then you have to start pulling some weeds.
Absolutely, I agree, but that takes leadership. So the point at which nobody really wanted to reorganize. The point at which everybody said, let's just put this Band-Aid on it, and now there's some language in the bill which will require reorganizing to some extent and some prioritization to some extent. But at the end of the day, will that be a very public process? Will we forget about it? Will we just kind of limp along? Will the politics of the moment take over? Come October and come September, are we sitting around trashing each other on our favorite gubernatorial candidate, and we'll forget all about the actual processes that are involved? That's my concern, and that's why I feel, that I'm grateful for people like you. I'm grateful for people in the media. I'm grateful for people who take independent stands, and I think that focus has to be maintained. So, there are many ways to deal with that, and I'll be happy to discuss more of them after I retire.
Well, that's the other side of the conversation. I noticed in the Daily Post there is a big ad for presidential search, and it says here, the University of Guam seeks an accomplished, innovative leader who will build on Dr. Ur's Good to Great campaign. Did you write that?
No, I didn't. But I proved it. Consultants and the search committee wrote it, and of course I'm gratified by that, but it's actually the spirit of it, not the mechanics of it. The spirit of. We went through a period of prioritization. We got rid. People don't know that. I don't really advertise it, but we eliminated a lot of academic programs. We reduced, and so, because you have to go through a period of prioritization. It was painful.
Oh, I remember Pam Eastlick and the planetarium thing. That was painful.
It was painful. And you had to rate things, We went through a process. Here's a kind of an insight into how we did this. When you assign somebody a grade, let's say you're saying A, B, C, D, F. Mm-hmm. And so we had this committee say, okay, rate these programs. Well, everyone's going to rate a lot of programs A, B, C. Nobody's going to get an F. But I changed that process. I said, you have to give an equal number of A's, equal number of B's, and equal number of F's.
Oh. Ooh.
So somebody had to fail. 20% had to fail. 20% had to get a grade of F. And so the people who got an F, a D or an F, had to explain in great detail what they're going to do or they're going to be eliminated. That's what we went through. See, so that prioritization process wasn't just rating according to a standard. It was rating relative to each other. You have 5 grades. Well,
wait a second. That's the way they got to do this now, because they're going to need to sit down and talk about reorganization in the government of Guam. Although it is no longer a hard, fast requirement in Bill 248, at least it provides the means for it to get done. And maybe that's the way that we need to start looking at programs that we're spending money on in the government of Guam, and say these things here. If you want to keep one, then you have to decide what you're going to kill.
That's right. So we assigned the grades that way. We didn't grade on a curve. That's which is what usually educators do.
Yeah. No. I see it. There's the same thing that I do. I don't grade anything on scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. When I put things down, I try to grade on 1, 2, or 3, and eliminate 2 as a possibility. So it's either going to kill it or we're going to love it. But I'm looking over at Group 300 in Frank Uggan's paperwork that was ingested into this, and you've got AHRD, Ancestral Lands Commissions, Stats and Plans, BBMR, Civil Service, Chamorro Land Trust, Commission on Decolonization, Department of Agriculture. And as you pointed out earlier, all of these guys can make a case for and justify their survival and their existence. But what happens when the guys over at the legislature say, you know what, we can have the Department of Education and the University of Guam, but we're going to have to get rid of something on Group 300. So is it going to be decolonization? Is it going to be the Energy Office, the Regional Transit Authority, yada, yada, yada?
And so that, just to add to that, Ray, is that when you do that, the disease of aggrandizement goes away because people start thinking about what they're doing. So even if you go through that process and you eliminate some programs that aren't really saving you a lot of money, but you still transmit a message to the entire operation that we're serious. And right now, I'm sure that there's a lot of people are saying, well, if we just weather the storm, it'll be okay, and we'll just go back to business as normal.
Yeah, I don't want us to do that. I think there's a great opportunity here to rebuild on what is a pretty good foundation of people and experiences, and still a great place to raise your kids. We just managed to let things get a little too far out of hand.
It is. It's so for when I get on the other side of retirement, I'll lay it out a little bit more. But I am serious about that. But because this is not a trajectory of sustainability. GovGuam is not sustainable under this scenario. It just isn't.
There's nobody that's going to disagree with that, Republican or Democrat, listening to the program. Getting back to the presidential search, because I'm looking for something to do in the afternoon after I'm done with the morning show. So I thought maybe I'd put my hat. Hey, listen, they clearly like Underwood's there. So what is required? What do I need academically? What have I got to have on my CV in order to apply for this job?
Well, it's kind of outlined there. You don't really need a terminal degree, but you have to have higher ed experience.
Right. Well, I know where the university is. Does that count?
For a little bit more than that.
Okay.
You have to have kind of some professional experience in it. People paid you to have opinions about the university.
Sure.
And you work in it, and you also have to demonstrate an understanding of the region and the community that we serve. And then you have to demonstrate an understanding of national trends in higher education, which is, just like any professional activity, a whole other world, which is largely, not well understood, or is largely kind of disguised to the general community. How does accreditation work? What are the recent trends in accreditation? What are the recent trends in the financing of public universities?
Right.
How do they relate to states, and what are legislatures doing? So all of those things are kind of part and parcel. It's not just understanding academic programs, because academic programs, in many respects, are just like the government activities we're discussing. Everybody has a reason to exist and present that. But, in the great scheme of things, what is the university about? What is it at its core that makes it a great institution, and we should support programs that promote that. It can't be everything to everybody, and that was the source of what we were doing in Good to Great. And so that's in a sense, that's the kind of spirit we ought to adopt in the government of Guam and in general society, is trying to figure that out. But as a university president, you have to have that. You have to have a few political skills. You have to demonstrate that you have that. And so, I was fortunate.
Yeah, got hired by a guy that you ran against twice. So yeah, that was pretty fortunate.
And then I had a political experience, and some of it pretty bad, but in the end, I still had some.
So I'm I'm getting a note from Shelley that you're giving my nephew, our nephew, his master's diploma on one of the last times that you'll get one of us to walk up.
That's right. I'm so proud. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I'm going to want to steal some thunder too. So do me a favor, get me an honorary before you retire. All right.
Okay.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you pretty soon. I knew I'd feel better, so that's all I got to do. Now, when the world gets me down, when I'm on the wrong side of the legislature on an important vote, always feels good to get Uncle Robert on the phone.
All right.
I'll see you later. Give Anthony Norris a big hug. It's closing in on 9 o'clock in the morning. What? The show's got my name on it. I can do whatever I want. You want to do something? 888-8255, and we'll discuss it. We'll negotiate that point. Where do we need to go here? Seconds away from, as I said, Fox News Live, coming up in the next hour of the program. And there no guests or anything. I didn't line up anybody, big shots or anybody important to come into the studio and yak at me and yak at you at the same time. So if you've got some opinions on some of the things that have been taking place, or some of the things that I have said, or some of the things you've heard the callers say, you're welcome to chime in about it at the telephone numbers I just blurted out, 888-8255. So stand by for that Fox News, more fun and talk and information on the other side of that. Did I say KUSG? I can never remember. We're KUSG Agana. There.
Multiple casualties. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Rescue crews searching for survivors of this afternoon's bridge collapse in South Florida. The bridge connecting Florida International University to the town of Sweetwater was above a busy highway. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, no deaths are being confirmed at this point, but we are learning more about the status of people who were hurt. Kendall Regional Medical Center got some of those patients. Dr. Mark McKinney went through those numbers.
10 patients. 2 are extremely critical. Both were operated on emergently. And 8 other patients who have injuries but are in stable condition.
The pre-constructed bridge was just moved into place this past Saturday. 8 cars were crushed. Bridge engineers say they will be part of the investigation to discover what happened and why, Lisa.
Gernal, Russia retaliating after Great Britain accused it of poisoning a former Russian spy and his daughter and taking action against diplomats in England.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said some British diplomats in Russia will get their expulsion notices, quote, absolutely soon. This in response to Britain laying blame fully on Russia for the March 4th poisoning of Russian double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia and Britain's announcement yesterday that it would be expelling 23 Russian diplomats.
Fox's Amy Kellogg in London. The White House downplaying reports that another major staff shakeup is in the works.
As you move through an administration, you have different priorities that you're focused on and different people that are going to lead those efforts and lead those priorities.
Spokeswoman Sarah Sanders. Reports have surfaced that National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster and VA Secretary David Shulkin are both about to be replaced. A Black Hawk helicopter has crashed in western Iraq. The military says there are service members on board and rescue teams are responding. Fox News, fair and balanced.
This is the sound of a brand new outdoor grill being hurled off a 20-story building. Now a stylish glass coffee table. An electric guitar. These are the things you could enjoy, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Visit EnergySavers.gov and get tips on how to save energy and money. Then do things like switch to Energy Star light bulbs or Energy Star appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. So this doesn't happen to the recliner you've had your eye on, or this to the treadmill on your wish list, or this to the shiny new bike your kid's been asking for. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
The top House Democrat thinks this week's special election win in Pennsylvania is a sign of more to come.
House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi says Republicans can't sugarcoat Conor Lamb's apparent win this week in a special House election.
We won. We won the race. The D next to his name was very significant.
Republican leaders argue Lamb's success is because he separated himself from Pelosi and ran on a conservative message in a district that favored President Trump by nearly 20 points. Pelosi says she expects to be a target in races across the country, dismissing that strategy as an ad hominem because Republicans can't win on the issues. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
An ad on Snapchat asking users if they'd rather slap Rihanna or punch Chris Brown, spawning an outrage, including from the singer herself. Brown was convicted of assaulting Rihanna when the two were a couple in 2009. A spokesman for Snapchat saying in an email, the ad was disgusting and a terrible mistake. It was for a game called Would You Rather. A Floyd Mayweather Jr. Conor McGregor rematch could be coming.
After posting videos of himself performing MMA training, Floyd Mayweather confirmed to TMZ Sports that he will soon begin training for the Octagon with UFC star Tyron Woodley.
I'm going to start soon. Okay. Yeah, we talk. We've been texting back and forth. We talked a couple of times, so we're going to start working out real soon.
The undefeated boxer took down Conor McGregor during their boxing match back in August, ending in a 10th round TKO by money. Mayweather banked a reported $300 million in purse for what was billed as the biggest fight in combat sports history. McGregor earning $100 million. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A Pennsylvania judge has agreed to let 5 additional accusers of Bill Cosby testify at his April 2nd sexual assault retrial. Cosby's lawyers had fought the move. They argued prosecutors were looking to bolster a weak case with what they're calling ancient allegations. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
We can't buy this house.
What?
It has 4 bathrooms. Just think of all the bathtub rings, water spots, and stains, plus the cleaning products I'll have to buy.
Didn't I tell you? The house comes with a non-electric Connecticut water treatment system. We'll have clean, soft water throughout the house, protect the water-using appliances, keep the tub, showers, and sinks looking like new, and help our skin, hair, and clothes look and feel great, too. The house even includes a Connecticut drinking water system.
A Connecticut system in the house? We'll take it.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com. King's brings you this portion of the program. You know, for over 40 years, they have been serving Guam favorites, as in our favorite meals to families like yours and mine. King's Restaurant, always open, always local.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Manila on Route 10. Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manila. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
Wendy's welcomes the new Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger, featuring smoky sauteed portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese, crispy applewood smoked bacon, and crunchy fried onions atop a juicy beef patty. For those craving the same great taste, Wendy's Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato is also loaded with sauteed portobello mushrooms, cheddar cheese sauce, and crispy applewood smoked bacon. Here for a limited time, get a delicious Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger and Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato today. Wendy's. Now that's better. Our island is at a crossroads. We need leaders willing to make the tough decisions to guide us through the roughest waters. The Gutierrez-Bordallo team understands that you cannot cut primary government services like health care. This is bad for our people, and it's bad for business. Cut 1/3 of unclassified political hires, and Guam Memorial Hospital would be set on the right track. Gutierrez-Bordallo will lead by example and do what is right for Guam. Please vote August 25th, Gutierrez-Bordallo.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yeah, just taking a little bit of time ambling out of the music bed and into the return to the talk portion of the program. It's just after 9 o'clock in the morning. And what is it? What's the old Shelley Berman routine? The morning after, the night before. And coming to grips with the conversation at the legislature on Bill 248. And Kevin Kerrigan, who was in the studio this morning, had mentioned, he says, I thought you were dead set against the tax increase. And I said, no. Well, who's crazy about increases of anything, coming out of your pocket? But, I get it. Again, there's a shortfall, and understand that we've never been any good at saving money. And I'm not the guy that can stand on a rock and say the government has got to save money. Anybody that's familiar with my bank accounts knows that I'm no good at it either. But then again, I don't have to raise kids, not raise kids. I don't have to educate kids. I don't have to run a police department. I don't have to run a fire department or a hospital or any of those things. So, you look to the experts to be able to handle that kind of a business. So at the end of the day, yeah, I get it. And maybe there needs to be a little bit of a kiss to keep the lights on and keep everybody from panicking. But along with that kiss, and this is why I said I can live with this, is there needs to be the companion revenue enhancements besides taxes that I have to pay, and cuts and consolidation. And so they got to work on that. They'll have to work on it. The way the law is written now is the governor will get it. He has a copy of the bill. He's got the thing, and he can approve it, but it's not enacted just with his signature. It will be enacted when he submits to the legislature a fiscal realignment plan that should recognize $30 million worth of savings. Should achieve $30 million worth of savings. So about $30 million in additional revenue based on the percent increase in the BPT. And then you've got the $30 million in proposed savings. And, they were pretty close on the deal that they got. And then we can start talking about revenue enhancements. As they are right now at the legislature, there are already bills. There's already measures in place that will kind of streamline some of that. Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi has a piece of legislation. It's basically the rest of 2018's budget that needs to go in there. And then you got another one. Doesn't have a number yet, but Mike Sinicolas says, general sales tax on Guam. I don't think so. So he's already got legislation that would undo a significant part of the package that was voted on last night. And he's just mad enough. He might actually be able to swing this. So we'll watch. We'll see. But I was always very interested in some revenue enhancements that Governor Calvo talked about the first time that he was in the studio, which is incidentally the last time he was in the studio. And based on my big mouth, it's possible that he may never come back to the radio station. Hey, it's opinions, and I've got mine. And so I wasn't on his side on this particular battle. But revenue enhancements that he's brought up that I think are interesting, among them, legalizing the use and sale of recreational marijuana. I wonder out loud, kind of, and I don't smoke marijuana. I don't deal in marijuana. I don't know too many people that do. If they do, they don't tell me, and that's okay. I'm all right with it. But I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to make some money on this. We'll have to talk about that. But increase in business privilege tax. That was one of the revenue enhancements suggested by the governor's office. All right, so we'll put a check on that. Implementation of a sales tax. Well, if everything goes through the way it is now, we'll see what happens in the beginning of the new fiscal year. Increase the hotel occupancy tax. I'm going to say no on that one because I think we need to be a better and more economical destination for the growing number of more frugal passengers and visitors. Increasing the alcohol and tobacco taxes. As somebody that imbibes in at least one of these, let me say, no, thank you very much. The sin taxes is what they are called. And I'm about done paying for my sins, I think. So I don't know if we need to see any additional money flowing from this place to elsewhere. Now, of course, the teetotalers and the anti-tobacco crowd will stand up and say, no, that's a good place to raise money. And we'll have to argue about that like married people later. Now, number 5, removing exemptions and raising real property taxes. So I ran into Cisco Tapeo last night and said, you owe me some phone calls. So we'll eventually get her on the line to talk about what I think would need to take place if we were to decide that we are going to do something about real property taxes. I don't think it's something that you can just say we're going to do. I think there needs to be valuation on top of that. So I'm going to put a no on that one, too. Imposing an income tax surcharge on all income taxes provided for in the Organic Act. Joe Teese in Augustin has talked about this for a number of years as a, hey, we might be able to do this if it came to bullets, but I don't know that we're at the bullets point at this point. Folks in the SES and the fiscal team will probably disagree, but I'm going to say no on that one. Imposing an income tax surcharge only on corporate income taxes. That's just more money I won't be able to spend on my people, on my equipment, and flies in the face of what Trump is trying to do. Imposing a $10 surcharge on residential solid waste fees. I'm going to say no on that one, too, because I worry, I think as many people do, that the cost to get rid of trash in this town is, for some people, inaccessible. So maybe what we ought to do here is find a way to make it more accessible to people. And charging more is just going to make it so that they're more reluctant to join in the plan and will decide instead to put it in the back of the truck and dump it on the way to Two Lovers Point, as so many people do now. So, sorry, going to say no on that one. Implementation of a departure or a resort fee. See point number 3. No, we don't need to make this place more expensive. Implementing an automated traffic light ticketing system. Well, that one is interesting. I wouldn't mind doing that. But here's the point I'm going to make on the point. We already have policemen. We already have police officers. We could make a mint, just a fortune, if we only put a couple of guys at an intersection, and when the light turned red, every car that went gets a ticket. We don't need an automated system. We can do this now with the people that we have. Here, you want to make more money? Have somebody actually look at the traffic from the other end. Right? So that you can see the drivers and see what the drivers are doing. You know what a lot of drivers are doing at the intersection? They're looking at their phone, like senators at the legislature. Some of them are on the phone. Hey, put it down and drive, guy. Here's a citation. Like I said, we could fund the rest of the police department for the rest of the year. Just get the guys out there and have them start writing tickets. legalizing the use and sale of recreational marijuana. Like I said, that's an interesting one to me. I don't have a problem with it. You're going to smoke whether it's legal or not, and so we'll just find a way to make some money on it. The governor didn't actually have any concrete ideas on how to do it. I'll go quicker because there's like 4 more, and I got Senator Ruggan on the line. Implementing a travel emergency medical evacuation fee. Yeah, that sounds like pork. Increasing the registration fee for all vehicles utilized as part of a rental car fleet. Again, not on the tourists. Implementing a rental car surcharge at the rate of $10 a day. Again, not on the tourists. Increasing the H-2 visa application fee. Regine Lee's already got a measure out to do that. And allowing for a tax amnesty program. This is number 16. Frankly, I think it should have been number 1. I think that we ought to be able to, and I'll get it from Senator Ruggan now, we should be able to, without any further authority, just ask John Camacho and Prima Marie to start implementing an amnesty program. Is that right, Senator Ruggan?
Actually, that's absolutely correct, Ray.
So we don't need a executive order from the governor. We don't need a resolution from the legislature. Just go.
And good morning and half a day. Yes, that's my understanding, that in order to proceed forward with a tax amnesty program and go out and collect the outstanding amounts, certainly that's within the prerogative of the Director of Revenue Tax as well as the Governor. But let me first of all, I know, Ray, you went down a multitude of lists of possible revenue enhancements.
That's the one from the Governor. The Governor sent that to you guys a few weeks ago.
He forwarded that on February 26th as part of his fiscal realignment plan.
Yes.
But I think we really need to get back to the fundamentals of where we are today. If we realize that we're short on cash. Now, the legislation that was passed yesterday would be able to infuse actual money, cash, into the government of Guam for the balance of the fiscal year. Now, let's get back to the drawing board. Part of the provision that I inserted in that particular piece of legislation is the prioritization of education, public safety, and healthcare / reorganization. We need to seriously sit down, take a look at these government agencies, the functions and the services, and reorganize government. Because if we go back to the basics and we say, okay, we're going to prioritize education, public safety, and healthcare, and yes, we need revenue tax because they have to go out and collect the money and pursue any outside tax liabilities. We do need Department of Administration because they process the payments for not only personnel, but inclusive of vendors. So there are certain agencies that are already in category 2, other than education, public safety, and healthcare in group 2, that can continue to exist. But the other entities in 3, there's a strong possibility, just by virtue of looking at their functions and their services, of either consolidating the functions and reallocating or reassigning these personnel so that they're cross-trained and they're providing the additional support. There's one thing that's one thing I wanted to emphasize, because we need to get back to understanding that government today should not look like government tomorrow, so to speak, in a few years. Because as long as we continue to operate status quo, then we're going to continue to experience the challenges of DOE having to absorb unnecessary cuts or not receiving the allocation that they're requesting.
Understood.
Also with public safety and also with healthcare. But that's one thing I wanted to emphasize. But another thing is, you mentioned about the tax amnesty. Well, in this case, when you have, I believe the figure that was discussed in the legislature, the committee in the whole, was about a little slightly over $180 million. Now, the question that every taxpayer out there, inclusive of the business community and every individual, have got to ask is, why do we have an outstanding amount due of $180 million? Why are we not collecting? And if the answer is, well, we don't have the resources, then okay, take that reorganization provision. Some agencies, the functions have to shut down, reassign those personnel, cross-train them so that they can go out and aggressively collect. We need to do things differently so that we can increase efficiency and make sure that we focus on bringing those tax dollars out into Guam or collect it before we look at additional revenue enhancements albeit I recognize that is also needed.
So is that something that we could outsource? I mean, it sounds like a job that we can identify, that we can write the description for, and then put it out in the private sector and say, we need somebody to become collection agents and assessors working on behalf and under contract with the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and they can keep a portion of whatever it is that they collect.
It's either that, or we can go the other route, is every time that there are significant outstanding obligations for real estate taxes. Incidentally, there was a system that was used in the past where it would be printed in the paper and then automatically 70%, 60 to 70% of any outstanding real estate taxes that were due are paid within the next 30 days. So that was printed. So
I remember that. Yeah. And I think in those cases, it was the newspapers that made the most money off those amnesty plans.
The newspapers made a lot of money.
Yeah.
The government also collected a significant amount of the outstanding revenue.
Yeah. I don't remember it being huge money, though. I want to say the last time we did this, John was able to net about $6 or $7 million, right?
$6 or $7 million is $6 or $7 million that otherwise was not in the government.
Well, I know, and I'm not trying to suggest that we are so prosperous that we can ignore that. I'm just, it's one part of a plan that we can look for. Think about I'm looking over Group 3, your PN 300s here, and there is the Department of Parks and Recreation, and people are going to scream up and down and say, well, we can't do away with Parks and Rec, and the smart money is you don't do away with the Department of Parks and Recreation. We just look at different ways to fund it. And so if, what are we paying to use the tennis courts? What are we paying to use the ball fields? What are we paying to use the swimming pools and all of the other facilities here? We know that people use them on a regular basis. And if you're going to use them, then you'll need to pay to use them. You'll need to put some money down. You'll need to pay for the maintenance. You'll need to pay for the upkeep. You'll need to pay for the people that will be doing that maintenance and upkeep. So, yeah, it might cost you down the road more than a couple of dollars to go swimming.
And we can also get public-private partnerships with businesses out in the community where they would adopt a particular park or they would adopt a particular facility, and in exchange for that, they'll maintain it, still assess a charge, and then those revenues can go back towards paying that particular contract. So there are options available before we actually look at significant revenue enhancements that you delineated as a result of the governor's fiscal realignment plan.
Well, we can look at them all. There's 15 of you over at the legislature, and there's enough people over at the governor's office to begin to actually put things like this together so that we review revenue enhancement opportunities, and we talk about different changes that we can make to these 300 groups. And if they want to survive, maybe you go to somebody that, as an example, the Guam Election Commission, right? And nobody loves Maria Pangilinan more than me. I just say that right now. But this might be one of the cases where the Guam Election Commission will need to, number one, justify its continuing existence, and number two, figure out how it's going to pay for that continuing existence. Should there be other fees that go along with being able to take in applications and the myriad other tasks that they do there?
And one thing also, Ray, if I can also on a sideline, one of the discussions during the course of the last 3 weeks was a law that was enacted, I believe, 7 or 8 months ago, being able to go out there and collect for the B&B facilities, the bed and breakfast facilities.
Yeah.
Because the number that was thrown out in terms of possibly generating revenues on an annual basis was about $25 million.
I'm told.
So if a law hasn't been in place for the last 7 or 8 months, then let's promulgate the rules and regulations. Let's get it in place so that we can start collecting those revenues and ultimately benefit our tourism industry as well as benefit our entire community and our government. So
that's almost better than $2.5 million in additional revenues for the tourist attraction fund, or whatever we decide to do with that that money that we're missing out on simply because we have not promulgated and then enforced the rules and regulations.
Yes, and we also have to be very mindful that as we look at any revenue enhancements, we already understand that the cost of living on Guam continues to go up by virtue of commerce and business activity out there, because everything is brought in. So that's one of the primary reasons why costs are somewhat high. So we need to be mindful of that, because otherwise many of our people may look at residing elsewhere, and that's not the intent. The intent is to make Guam the paradise it should be. It already is, first of all, and make Guam better in terms of the services being provided and try to keep the cost from the government's perspective, at least at a reasonable rate.
We'll,
I mean, I agree. We need to generate revenues, but at the same token, we need to be mindful that we need to be as efficient and as effective as we possibly can in providing those services.
All right. So what have you got coming out here for new legislation?
We're looking at a few items, and I'm going to have to withhold any comment on that until they're introduced and released.
What? No, just throw it up the flagpole and see if I salute.
It's looking more or less towards continuing to push efficiency and effectiveness in our government services, because that's what our people are looking towards. And I certainly hope and encourage the governor to use the tool that is in Bill 248 for reorganizing this entire government. And hopefully, as he moves forward with that, we will realize some efficiencies and remove some unnecessary redundancies if they exist out there, and then we'll proceed forward in terms of making sure we realize some cost savings.
Well, we had a great opportunity to hold his feet in the fire, and by virtue of a simple amendment that changed 6 or 7 words on Mike Nicholas's amendment, then we lost that chance now. So for me, it is a leap of faith here, and I want to believe. So if you're one of the guys over at the governor's office that he is tasked with writing up this new fiscal realignment program, hey, let's do a real serious job on this. Let's talk about some of the things that the community has been talking about and asking for, and let's leave nonsense like, oh yeah, the legislature should be a part-time legislature on the last page under severability. Let's leave that kind of nonsense out.
Well, let's just also hope that once that fiscal realignment plan is transmitted to the legislature, that we'll be able to entertain it and seriously sit down, go through it, and either reinforce the governor's recommendations or ensure that proposal is passed, forwarded back to the governor with a corresponding reduction of $30 million.
We'll see.
Regardless as to where the figures are adjusted.
Okay, we'll see. And somebody had asked me last night.
You don't sound like you have too much hope in that process.
No, none whatsoever, because I've been burned. I've tried to love the government before. I've tried to embrace it, saying this time it's going to be different. This time she'll love me. This time it's going to be different. But it's never happened.
Knocking at the door.
It's never happened.
So that conversation the other day.
How many times, Frank? 2004, 2007, 2014, 2018 now. How many times have we gone back to the reorganization? Well, how many conversations, Senator, have you and I had on the radio since I've been doing this where we've talked about reorganization?
But Ray, in this particular case, should Bill 247 be signed by the governor, and he did allude to signing it.
Yep.
Now the impediments in the laws today regarding reorganization and consolidation of functions will no longer be there. So the governor would have the tools necessary to reorganize his government and ensure that we remove redundancies and that we streamline government services.
I've got my finger.
That's a good tool that I believe will be very, very effective and necessary in the future.
I want to believe. So we'll see what happens. Have a great weekend. Have a
wonderful day.
All right, but I'll talk to you later. This is Senator Frank Uggan, candidate for Governor Frank Uggan, and I'm sure that some of that went into the thinking that he had when he cast his vote. Senator Uggan among the Magnificent Seven. That's what I called them, the Magnificent Seven: Therese Terlahi, Frank Uggan, Regine Lee, Talina Nelson, D-Rod, Mike Nicholas, and Mary Torres. D-Rod on my Magnificent Seven list because he voted against the measure, right? But still on a different list because even after he voted on this, he got up there and wanted to thank everybody at the legislature for working so hard on it. But then it reminded me again that he wants to go after insurance companies and banks and put them out of business, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a non-starter. He says it fell on deaf ears. I said, no. They were listening. They heard every word. It wasn't that they didn't hear it. They just think it's all nonsense, so they didn't support it.
So sounds like he doesn't want to be a politician for very long.
Well, he wants to be the governor, but I don't know know if you can. I don't know if you can governor if the first thing that we want to do is to destabilize part of a magnificent portion of our economy. We need banks. We need successful banks, and banks will leave if we don't take care of them. And the insurance companies, frankly, I need to have insurance here, guys. So let's not tip over too many rice bowls. And whenever I hear the phrase fair share. Whenever I hear fair share, especially from a Democrat, I get I get this weird feeling that I want to throat punch somebody. I just do. I'm sorry. Wait a second. Fair share of there's no such thing as fair share. They just put those two words together because they sounded good in kindergarten. Fair share. My fair share is 0. I didn't use that piece of government yesterday. I don't want to pay for it. Hoffa Can, how you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing good. I just
welcome back. It's good to have you back on the radio twice here. What did you forget something the first time?
No. You brought up an interesting topic on the enhancements.
Oh yes.
Senator Espaldon last session introduced a bill for stoplight cameras, and I was really liking that idea until I did my research. And then when I started doing research, one of the things that I noticed is all these DOT, Department of Transportation reports from all the different states that installed those stoplight cameras reporting in one town in California, 1,000% increase in rear-end collisions. Literally every place that installed those cameras saw astronomical increases in rear-end collisions and fatalities because of the cameras. But the part that caught my attention most is the majority of the states that did it on a public-private partnership.
Oh.
Because, that type of system is very expensive to install. And since government of Guam can't afford to pay a lot of bills, that would be the way they would probably do it. And the majority of the states and cities where they have put those systems in, they've got all kinds of RICO investigations and, things like the vendors. Remember, the vendors get like 80% of the collection.
Okay, now you be careful because we're stepping dangerously in the conspiracy theories that says that private incarceration, a la a privatized Department of Corrections, would lead to an imbalance of minorities getting arrested and incarcerated, so that these businesses, so-called, can continue to rape the taxpayer. So I just want to make sure that you've got the information to back it up. I assume that you do, but as I say, we're stepping very. I want to avoid the conspiracy theories.
Well, it's not a conspiracy theory when you look at how many states are shutting down those collections because the public-private partnerships have been found guilty of things like shading the yellow lights and things like that, so that instead of having 15 seconds to get through a yellow, you got 3.5 seconds to get through a yellow.
Yeah, and then we'll take a picture, and it's going to get mailed to you, and that is its own invoice and receipt. I get it. I hear what you're saying, but more to my point is we don't need it. We have policemen that we can put out there, and I did get a note. I did get a note from a cop buddy.
Policemen, we've detailed them up to DOC because we don't have enough work for them to do, and obviously standing out there by those street lights, writing tickets till the cows come home is not a good use of their time.
Oh no, it's more important apparently that it's more important that they become chauffeurs for some of the clients, and it's more important that they work at the intake center. And I'm telling you that we can put the park rangers there and let them do that job and get the uniforms and the badges off the streets. I got a note from a friend of mine who's a cop, and he says we don't have the manpower to man the lights, Ray. The demand for police presence in the village and their complaints are overwhelming. Police reserves can't work daytime jobs can't work during the day because of their regular daytime jobs. He says, you don't understand. We got people retiring and resigning. Maybe 200 officers out there for a population this size. We need more guys. We need more guys out there, but I'm telling you, we ought to be able to support that with, and it doesn't have to be cops. I mean, if we got to put the cops in the villages responding to break-ins and family quarrels and CSCs, then fine, that's what we do. Let's take these guys, the other fellas that are wannabe police officers, and they've worked their way up to a job where they can get a uniform and maybe carry a gun, is teach them how to write tickets.
You know, I had a conversation with a reservist who went through the police training, became a reservist. He rides patrol. He has all the powers of police officer. He just doesn't have the job, and he's been trying to get a job as a police officer. He's already trained, so we don't have to spend any additional money training him. I'm just curious why the police department is not hiring. I think maybe there's 40, 50, 60 people that have already qualified to be reserve police officers, and most of them want to be real police officers.
So bring them in.
Reduce the overtime.
Where? We're not. I thought we were trying to reduce overtime in the police department, but it didn't end up going in that direction. And I hope that now that 248 is passed and we have this road map, let's back up to that intersection that we were at, where somebody thought that was a good decision, and get those guys out of DEPCOR and replace them. If we absolutely have to have guys at DEPCOR driving clients around or sitting in the intake center, I'm sure that there are people that don't necessarily have to have a gun and a badge that are capable of doing that job. Go find Paul Suba and Willie Brennan and find out if we can outsource that to some of the retired cops that they've got on the G4S team.
Now, there's an idea that makes way too much sense to be implemented.
That's the sad thing, isn't it? Hey, I got to go, Ken. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
All right. You have a good show.
I already did. I'm just going to get into the small talk part now. I got to take a break. You have a great morning. We're going to play commercials here from all of my beloved clients, and then I'm going to come back, and then we'll do something else. iConnect time at the radio station is 9:36 in the morning. And what has iConnect got for you? Great package. This is going to be good for another couple of weeks. Hop on over to iConnect and receive a free gift and automatic entry to win an iPhone 10 with every new 12-month plan from now until Easter.
Chili's has the seafood you crave, the flavors you love, at a great price with our 3 for Me Lent menu. For just $15, you can get a beverage, fresh salad, and a Lent-friendly entree. First, choose from a refreshing Coca-Cola, iced tea, or Heineken on draft. Then enjoy a fresh house salad right before you indulge in your choice of a mouth-watering entree, like our spicy shrimp tacos, savory Cajun pasta with shrimp, or our flavorful grilled ancho salmon. Chili's 3 for Me Lent menu for just $15. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Munia on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
It's super, stupendous, it's sensational. It's a sensational seafood menu at Ruby Tuesday with satisfying selections of appetizers like lobster mac, crispy flatbreads, Italian cheese dip, and stuffed shrimp. Try them all and enjoy the selection of sensational seafood for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
So last night, was an interesting night at many levels. As I said, I was watching the legislature, and I got there, already the vote was done, so I didn't get to see what I've referred to as the silent goodbye that Estevez made. He passed a couple of times. And so when they do the call for a vote, you've got a chance to say, yay, I like it, nay, I don't like it, or pass. And then they go back around the room, and then they come back to you, and they say, well, what do you want? And then he passed twice, and on the third go-round voted yay to support the measure.
And he just wanted to fit in, I think.
Well, I used to work with a guy at the bank, and he always... He's just strange the way his brain bent, and he told me about a concept called the silent goodbye. And I said, what's that? He says, when I get off the elevator, I pass gas. So that the next guy, that's my silent goodbye to the elevator. And so the next guy walks into the cloud of this guy's gas.
The funk.
The funk, yes. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. That's what Estevez did. He's leaving the legislature. He's not running again. He's already said, and you're no going backsies, right? So he's already said he's not running. And so in this case, he let it pass a couple of times, realized he was in a real awful place because everybody else had voted. Now he is the deciding vote on this. Yeah.
Maybe that's just the way he wanted it.
So he says, yay, pull my finger. And now everybody is going to have to deal with, because it's not over yet. As we've said all morning long, this is not over. This is but a small crossroad in a continuing battle. There's going to be more. Therese Terlei's got a new idea on the rest of the budget for 2018. How much you want to bet that the guys at Adelup have already crunched the numbers and said, you got to be kidding. We got to fight this. So round up the Republicans again and fight that. But that was among the interesting things.
Right.
Was watching it, and then I went to the Docomo grand opening, which was absolutely terrific. Lots of folks that were down there, and all the business people were talking about the bill, and how there's no way that Camacho and the guys over at Rev and Tax are going to be able to come up with a good plan. So please, God, find the experts. And let's get some brain power on this new tax regime, this new tax policy that we're talking about over at the legislature. And then after that, I knew it was going on. I wasn't totally sure, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to swing by the venue tonight and see what's going on. I thought there might be a fundraising going on, and I was right. I mean, you pick out any night of the week, there's usually always a fundraising going on over at the venue. But I walked in, and it was a fundraiser for the Father Duenas class of 1988. I'm class of 80. My brother graduated in 1988, so I used that as an excuse to go in and say, okay, my brother can't be here, so I will sub for him. Right. And they're all a bunch of guys I knew anyway. So, we had a fantastic time there. And I walk in, and there's Tony Babauta. I used to be with the Department of Interior, Assistant Secretary of the Department of Interior, and I began the process of trying to convince my brother from Agate to run for the legislature. And look, the guy could do it. He can do it. See, you're the only guy whose face doesn't light up when I say Tony Babauta, because you don't know. You're not from here, right? Yep. But so he's just one of the. Add him to the list of people that you got to remember the name of, right? So I'm talking to him. I said, no, you can do this. Look, there's a whole bunch of lunks. I think the list is even bigger now that the vote is out. There's a whole bunch of lunks that aren't going to be called back. There's a bunch that are walking away, and then there's a bunch that the voters are going to say, yeah, I saw where you were on the taxes, and I'm not voting for you now. Right? You want me to read the list?
Why not? Jimmy
Espaldon, Estevez not going in, Luis Muñoz, Will Castro, Tommy Morrison, BJ, but BJ's on the way out. Besides, he liked the bill. Tom Atta, who's on the way out, and then Joe St. Augustine. All those guys voted yes on the thing, and I think they're going to get remembered at the ballot box come the next election. So I said, Tony, there's never been a better time for you to do it. I said, you got the requisite amount of political capital, right? Everybody knows your name. You're from Agate, for God's sakes. You're a shoo-in. And then, I don't know. I believe the conversation because, well, I'm trying to convince him to run for office. a buddy of mine comes up to me and says, "Lad, number one, when are you going to run for senator? You should run for office." And then started to parrot basically the same things back to me that I was telling Tony. Now's a good time. There's lunks that aren't going to be running again. There are lunks that aren't going to be called back.
It's your moment in history.
At me, I'm sorry, Tony. I'm really embarrassed about this. I don't know what to say. and I made the comment. I said, "Tony, come on, man. You get in there, you be top 10." And my buddy says, "Not number one. You're going to be top 5." Oh, Chaggy boy, try it out. Don't get me started. You know, you get the right number of Heineken lights in me, and all of a sudden that starts to look pretty good. Thank God my curfew hit, and it was time to go home. Huff a light, Jack.
Hey, good morning, Raymond.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Well, you know, it's a little too late for coffee and too early for beer, so I'm like in a bit of a conundrum.
Oh, maybe in your world.
Yeah, you know, we've got a variety of clocks here that represent different time zones, and I'll tell you what, this is another important point that I think needs to be made. It's okay to drink beer at 6 o'clock in the morning if you're at the United Lounge at the airport, because as far as I'm concerned, that's international territory.
Right, yeah, and I subscribe to the Jimmy Buffett philosophy. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Somewhere. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I told my pilot the same thing. When so, anyways, I was listening to you earlier about the traffic light and the cameras and stuff like that. And I got to stop you right there, Ray. We're having trouble implementing the Real ID system here. Now you want to go and put cameras that supposedly would be a great way to.
No. I am not this. I'm not the camera guy. I said that was an interesting proposal that the governor had submitted about an automated traffic light ticketing system. However, I believe that nothing is better than a man or woman from the Guam Police Department merely standing there and looking at the light when it turns red, and then radioing to the guy down the street that car and that car and that car didn't stop for it. That's what I said. I'm not crazy about the automated thing at all.
And there's another problem.
Yeah?
As far as I recall, those citations don't go, the fees don't go, and the fines don't go to the police department.
No, they generally don't. They go to, I believe still, the court construction fund. And the court, like every airport I've ever been in, is always under some kind of construction. So that money's never going to go away.
Yeah, but it goes to the court, not to the police department.
Right, and they say that they did that on purpose because they didn't want the police, writing out tickets, willy-nilly every time they needed to buy a new squad car, put gasoline in the one they have. Personally, I think that's a good use of the funds.
I beg to differ. You're using the resources of one department to finance another department.
No. I'm agreeing with you. No, Jack, I'm agreeing with you. You always call and you want to get in a fight, but I'm agreeing with you. I want the police to be able to write tickets, and I believe that they should keep 100% of every ticket that they write. And they say, well, they're just going to use it for squad cars and bullets and guns and shiny boots for the motorcycle guys. And I'm going, good, let them. And if it makes the road safer, then it makes the road safer. I've never thought it was a good idea to take ticket money and give it to somebody that wasn't the police.
Yeah, so I believe that the fines and fees should go to the police department. The court fees, though, because you have to appear before the court, I mean, they could collect those. So I don't know why they don't divvy it up that way.
I don't know.
That makes more sense than it going straight. But
when you and I are the governor, Jack, you should run. You get top 10.
I don't run from anything. And, usually I'm too busy. I'm too busy being the third monkey trying to get onto Noah's Ark there. So
where have I seen that? Where did I see that? That's all, I saw that on Facebook, didn't I? That was somebody, as if you're getting a scrap, you want to be like the third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark when it's starting to rain.
That's our life right now. We're always the third monkey. So that's our struggle right now. I don't have time for these fancy pansies legislation. But here's my take on the people bowing out, not running. I mean, we're approaching some difficult times, and it's those people that step up to the plate that you need to respect. And maybe for some reason or another that they decided not to run. But you need to take in consideration, we've seen this before, when times get tough, you see a lot of the people you thought they were going to still, push forth with their philosophies and principles will take up the banner, but a lot of times these guys just bow out and they wait for the tide to pass, and that's a shame.
No,
because but in the same token, you got to respect these the new crops, people coming in. You just hope they don't align themselves or staff themselves with the same bureaucracy that they're leaving behind.
We have to. We've got to do our own swamp draining here, Jack.
Exactly. And our swamp is, I'm sorry, dietary and the Barnett plumbing ain't gonna help that. We're gonna have to do it ourselves.
Unfortunately, but there's the problems. Every time I change who I vote for, the government keeps getting back in. Hey, I got to run. I got Bobby Stringer on the other line. I got to take this break. Have a good weekend, bud.
Have a great weekend.
And good luck to you with your Cancun sales. I think that's what he does over at the place. Now you know where he works. Go look for him. Everybody says, "Who's that Jack guy?" Yeah, well, maybe you'll find him over at the flea market. We got some businesses to take care of here. Bobby, I see you there. Coming next.
Subway's got your fresh choices for Lent. Sink your teeth into the classic tuna or indulge in the mouth-watering greatness of our seafood sensation. Or try our tasty Veggie Max, a delicious vegetarian patty free of artificial colors and flavors. All our subs are served on freshly baked bread paired with vegetables, cut fresh daily in restaurants, and sauces that are sure to excite your taste buds. Visit any of our convenient locations today at Subway. Fresh is what we do.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Kim Anderson of Chalampago, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itanotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and Group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
This KFC chicken is great. Shrimp. Hey, who are you calling shrimp? KFC's new shrimp burger. It's great.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. Try our new shrimp burger and all our seafood items available this season. KFC Food Kelequin, breaded shrimp, seafood salad, and of course, we can't forget your one and only favorite KFC original recipe chicken.
All right. I need to try KFC's new shrimp burger. Good, because you really are shrimp. Hey, a 5-7.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Let's see now. It's emails that I'm getting. Ray, why do you refuse to call out the legislature? It says the legislature went into session for 2 weeks last August and passed the budget in PL 34-42. They can go into session and cut it as well. Actually, I think they're going to, but I think at the gist of all of this is that the governor already had the budget that was given to him by the legislature, and I'm sorry if the fiscal reality changes mid-budget, you have to deal with it. So go ahead and make those cuts. You could make the argument that the Democrats were not pushing cuts to the budget; they were pushing the governor to make those cuts, even though organically that's their bailiwick. But still, in all, If the governor can play around with the numbers, the governor's office can play around with allotments. Why not play around with what to do with the additional expenses? I'm just saying that's how I feel about it. 9:54, and in enough time, I got Bobby Schringy on the line from the Chamber of Commerce and over at Moylan's Insurance. How you doing there, Bobby?
Pretty good. How you doing, Ray?
Not bad, not bad. Got a couple of things that are going to be interesting to keep me occupied over the weekend. Incidentally, not going to be here Monday morning. We're going to do. We don't have, and this is a problem, right? We were thinking about doing another best of show or take interviews and commentary from the previous couple of weeks. But everything that we have done in the last couple of weeks has led up to the vote that took place over at the legislature last night. So
it was like the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah.
Waiting for the verdict.
Yeah, and well, I don't think the verdict is in. I think we got to see what the governor comes up with now.
I see appeals. I see press releases. I see a lot of interesting things in the next few days.
Right.
Or next few weeks, actually.
I've heard the same thing. I mean, I almost immediately conversations from people talking about we're going to have to make an appeal on this sales tax thing.
Sure. Yeah, I bet the ratings for the 4:30 vote was probably a lot higher than than this year's Oscars.
Oh, no, over 100 for sure. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I forget what it was at peak time, but because I was looking at that to see how they were doing it. It's amazing to me the number of people that weren't watching, but that's just me and you. On the sales tax, I mean, the concern now is that this is going to go back to the Department of Revenue and Taxation. They will need to promulgate rules and regulations, bring that back for adoption by the legislature, and we've got to do all of this before the beginning of the new fiscal year. I'm not going to ask you what you think the odds are of the revenue tax being able to do that.
I think you know my answer.
Yeah, because I know the answer. So the question is how much will the brain power of the Guam Chamber of Commerce, who had been advocating for a sales tax, are you guys ready to bring in Joe Arnett and go get Joe Bradley and a bunch of the usual suspects and have them help the Department of Revenue and Taxation to form this new tax regime?
Well, you have to, if we can backtrack a little here, the position of the chamber when it comes to an actual sales tax is not a 2%, let alone standalone tax on top of the BPT. The position that the chamber has held for the last X number of years, actually going back to even before my time with the organization, has always been a conversion of the BPT to a sales tax.
Yes.
So this is how I look at this, and I'm always an optimistic. I'm always looking at the optimism of the issues. This gives enough time for the organization, the Guam Chamber, GHRA, because I know they have their concerns on how a sales tax could impact tourists.
Sure.
Guam legislature and, of course, Guadalupe, to look at additional options. I mean, I personally don't think 6 months is ample time for DRT to pan down all the rules and regs. All the power to them. But we've seen the issues and the challenges they faced with the B&B, the Airbnb issue, the stamp tax on cigarettes.
Noted. Yeah.
I think going back to the days of not too long ago, the revisions in the business license law, and the list goes, Real ID Act. So I understand they have manpower issues, and that's all the more power to them. But I think this gives an opportunity for all parties to at least come to the table and look at what's the best option moving forward. Does the government need to reduce expenses? Absolutely. Do we need alternative revenue enhancement items on the table? You bet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to see. What I looked at, at least in the last few weeks, was real discussions on where cuts can be made and what options are reasonable. I'm still not a full staunch supporter in raising the BPT, and I understand that the government needs the funds and for whatever reasons, but at least there are discussions on the table on reducing costs, starting with the $30 million requirement before this BPT was to kick in. So at least the discussions are there. But I think what's more important right now is the private sector, the public sector has enough time to come together and say, okay, where do we go from here? Does this 2% stand? I just don't see enough. I guess I just don't see it being fulfilled. But of course, this is me. That's my opinion. But I do think this is a good time to start discussing maybe a phase-in, phase-out plan over the next few years. Looking at outsourcing certain, agencies, divisions. Definitely not closing down public safety.
So what you want? Yeah, definitely, and or taking some of the skilled brain power that they've got and putting them in places where they're not actually doing police work. So we're not going to start driving on the opposite side of the street anytime soon. I hear what you're saying. We'll talk about it some more because I think it's the beginning of the great plan that we've got to start doing. I'll check back with you Tuesday morning. All right, Bobby?
You got it. You got it.
All
Hopefully by then, I have a feeling by the time we talk on Tuesday morning that we'll be having a lot more discussions because some major developments just might be happening between now and then.
I'm sure of it. We're KUSG Agana. Have a great weekend. I'll see you pretty soon. Fox News is coming up next. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Searching for survivors. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A bridge still under construction in South Florida connecting Florida International University and the town of Sweetwater collapses onto a major highway. Multiple people are hurt, some critically. Fox's Steve Rappaport has this live.
Lisa, Sweetwater Police Sergeant Jenna Mendez tells Fox News she saw the bridge come down as she sat in traffic.
I was in disbelief of what I actually was just witnessing, and my instinct